word, dream.
Hmm.
And so it said to speak the word. And that's what we're doing on these live chats. We've been speaking the word. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Al-Bob. I am your sensei, your griot, and this is John, the saint, the people's saint of truth. And last night about the word. And what's the word about? The word is the spoken word and the written word. And that connects to law and natural law, right? So law is what? No, there's natural law, right? That's God's law. And then there's, so did you know that?
The law, they talk about the law in the Bible in the New Testament when referred to what was in the Old Testament, and then I guess once it got written in the New Testament, that's the law too. That's the real law.
Well, you know what Jesus said? He said, leave to Rome what is Rome's, and what is God's. So that's kind of what they were getting at about natural law, you know? And so,
I remember either reading that in the Bible or talking about it and reading it and then talking about it to you.
here you go.
A tea?
Yeah. It's for losing weight and for being relaxed, for not being nervous, to get rid of all anxiety. So instead of yelling and screaming,
Leave what's Rome up to Rome.
give to Caesar
And
unto Caesar, give unto God what's God's, right?
What's unto Caesar
Caesar is
or Rome.
Rome is the courthouse at the corner.
Has something to do with like money and
Right.
earthly things.
Earthly
that they
things.
think
Yep, you got it.
are the most important, like looking good, having a bunch of money,
But that isn't
having an expensive car,
what's
stuff like that.
that isn't what's important. Love co-creation.
But then some of those things kind of make us happy.
Not
like,
really.
Sometimes when it's like you don't have to worry about people making fun of you for those things.
Yeah.
But not to pursue it as the only thing, not to selfishly pursue it as the main thing you're doing. But you can work hard at stuff and do God's work and things that are pleasing to God. That's how I ended up with a bunch of money somehow out of nowhere when I thought I had no money. I worked really hard, did God's work, was kind. I didn't get led into temptation. I did hard work on this house to make the value worth more because I didn't know how else to pay my bills and I had to do something. So I had to work really hard in this house and it was not easy. And it was like, gosh, it was not easy. Sometimes, I had to work really a bunch on this house and I didn't like to, and I didn't know what was going to happen, but I had the feeling I had to do it.
Right.
I didn't know why, but I was like, I don't want to end up on the street or something like what I wasn't thinking of the street. I don't think I'd ever be on the street, but because I work hard and I toil. And when you work hard at stuff, not necessarily something that immediately pays you back when you toil, in the Bible, it says that's a way that you pay for your own food and you'll have enough food. So I've always worked hard.
When Jesus Christ did the miracle of the loaves and the fishes, was he thinking about working hard? Was he thinking about a job?
God's work.
No. When he
God's
fed all
work is
those
work.
when he
That's
fed all
what you do.
when he fed
That's why you have enough food.
Harder than I thought. Well, we're
yes, it's not
my
easy.
dream was
It's difficult to get into heaven. Narrow is the gate to heaven. It's not easy to get into heaven. But technically, heaven's going to be brought to earth. On Judgment Day, heaven will be brought to earth, and heaven will no longer be in heaven. It'll come down to earth. There'll be no sin
So
on
you
earth
take a
after
little
all.
sour cream and you put it on the piece of bread. Give it a try.
I don't want it.
No problem. I'll eat it all.
Okay.
Look at this. Sour cream, sourdough bread, bananas, and blueberries. Yummy.
So I didn't know if I'd have any money or what, but I had a feeling I really have to work on this, or I had to work on stuff. I didn't know why, but I worked really hard, and most of it was hard labor myself on this house. And sometimes I got to work on videos. It was about as much work as I did on videos as I did in the house, but and being a good father. And God's work, kindness to others, not being led to temptation, all the ways that you can do God's work, honoring your father and mother, honoring my wife, or if she is my wife, I don't know.
But you got divorced 10 years ago.
Well, in the Bible, it says, let no man separate what God has brought together.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that's true or not. You may be right. I may be right. I don't know what that is. That's up to God, because she did commit adultery on me one time in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when we had never been with anyone else for 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
We'd been together since like the end of 99, 2000.
Mm-hmm.
We hadn't been with anyone else. And she did that because I had looked at internet stuff and
You didn't look at internet porn?
I lusted in my thoughts after
What I'm about
someone
to show
else,
you is
and
going to change your
and
life
she did that
forever.
in real
The
life. So I've been
demonstration that
studying.
you're about to see was filmed live.
You're supposed to stay with your wife.
But they put them to control and misdirect the
So this is a
But
dream
you work hard at stuff.
This is
And
Max
by some
Igon. This is a
miracle,
dream I
I had plenty of
It's a
money.
breaking down of everything.
It
you
was-
believe
it
to
was
be
a
true.
gift
It's
of
very,
God- from
very
God.
uncomfortable
And
realization.
it was
The
like
only
a real number
real
figure when I had
psychological
left
thought in
all the
this
results
regard
up to
is
God.
suggest that people
And it was like
always
a
stay
number
true to
figure
themselves.
that like I had something that was like a net worth when I thought I had $0 to $200,000 or $30,000 to $10,000 or zero. I didn't know what I had, and I was doing God's work and working as best as I could. It was not easy.
Expect people to get it because very often they won't. But if you
Yeah.
lead by example in your
And
life and
I left
you become
all the
a
results up
shining
to
light
God.
in your community,
And
this
by
will
some
affect others in a
miracle,
positive way.
God
Just realize that they're asleep and deal that a lot of
granted
people
me,
are
like,
just
I
empty
did the
balls.
math
That's the way they are.
on
the
the
most
value of this
difficult
house
thing
and
for
stuff,
people
and I
is
had a net
When they
worth.
discover
Ooh.
the depth
Yeah,
of
and
the
I wasn't
deception
expecting that,
we're
but it's
facing
because
in the
I
world
honored
today,
my
just
parents.
how
So does God want to
I
cut
honored
back?
my parents, and they
just want
Does God get cut
worked
back?
hard and did
Yeah, what
business
really
and stuff like
holds
that
this whole
because
system in
I was
place?
kind to them
It's simply our belief
and helped
that
them
the
with
system is
your
real,
ways.
and
I
our
helped them
belief
let go,
in
too.
words that are written
And
down
it all
on
came
paper.
together, and for some
The
reason I
system is
finally
essentially
had
held in place by
enough
magic.
money
But if you say that to people, they think you're
And-
crazy because
and
they don't
enough
believe
to
in
where,
magic because
you
they
know,
don't know.
it was
what
okay, and
magic
they had
is,
more
and yet
money than they
magic
thought,
appears
and I had
all
more
around
money
them
than I
every
thought.
day.
and
That's what
and
holds
everyone
the
in
system
Roanoke
together.
was being
It's held
paid
together
more,
purely
and
due
like
to people's belief that
you know,
the
like
system is real.
Instacart
This
drivers in
belief is
Roanoke
held
get
together
paid
by
like
people's belief in
tons
the
of
legal
money,
system.
kind of.
And
Not really.
this
It's
is
not
how
like
they
it used to be.
turn
I
by
mean, there's
people's
potential.
belief
If
in
somebody
the
goes,
written
if
word.
somebody's a delivery driver in
And
Roanoke,
this
they
is
get
how
paid
the
tons of
magic
money.
works. This is how
What's
the
tons of
spells
money?
And
work.
the people who work
All
in
the
real
secret
estate
codes and
make
all the
money too.
numbers that they
Real
put in
estate
there,
is
the
a
magic
way
that
to
it
make a
creates,
bunch of money when
all
you
the
work hard at
symbolism
it.
that they put everywhere. There's a certain
That's how-
magic that is created by all this stuff, which
Yeah,
they use
yeah.
to control us.
When you do that
These
kind of
secret codes
work
everywhere,
in
they put
real
their
estate,
Freemason
like if
signs
you own
everywhere,
the
they
deep
put their
green, which
obelisks
you may
everywhere, they do
not,
everything
I don't know.
according
If
to
somebody
geometrical
owns a house
patterns.
and
And they
you
do
work
it
on
for
the house and make
not
it worth more
just
money,
because of the reason that it sets up
then
energy.
you
really
have
like
something
this
playing
dark
right next to your
circle
laptop
of magic
speaker
going
while
on.
I'm
This is
talking.
their
Yeah, I know.
symbolism that they use. But it also
I'm gonna go
serves
upstairs.
as a
Don't
way
you want
of
breakfast?
controlling
I got an egg on the grill.
One of the
I
main
don't know.
I want you to
purposes
keep talking.
of this
Just keep
secret
talking.
language
How
is
could
actually
if
to
you're playing
control
somebody else's
those
video?
who are
No, but
researching
it's right
into
next to your speaker.
cotton candy
But
is
it's
and
a
those who
collage.
are researching into where things are going. They use the
You
secret
can listen to
language
this
to
guy. He's
control
pretty
those who
interesting.
know about them. Basically, they use it to control their opposition. And the way this is done is really quite clever. In order to understand how you are controlled by these secret markings and these secret
So
codes,
here, I mean,
you
right
need
next
to
to
understand
almost
the
there.
difference between left and a right brain perception.
Yes, yes,
And
you can-
you need to
come on.
understand how the language
Have
works. And you need
breakfast.
to understand how the law works, what the law actually is. And when you look at law, there are two types of law on earth. There's natural law and there's man-made law. If we do refer to natural law as being the law of the light, i.e. white law, then we see that man-made law is the law of the dark, i.e. black law. Why do you think they call the legal book Black's Law? And see, what they do, folks, is they teach you to think in language. Once you're taught to spell and you're taught to view words as something that is written down, then the words have a power over you. But it's a spell, it's a glamour. That's why they call it spelling. And most people don't realize that when they are spelling, they are casting spells. You see, Black's Law, the legal book, it's not really a book of law. It's essentially a grimoire. It's a book of spells. They can write down all of these rules on paper and you suddenly believe they apply to you, but only because you can spell. Only because the spells are
He's referring to
holding you in
sin,
place by
the
a
inherent
belief
sin in
in
mankind,
this
because the
language,
devil
when real
infected
language
all
is
of
actually
humankind
spoken
with
and
sin.
real law
You got it.
is known. We all
What are you talking
know
about?
what right
We
and
do our
wrong
best to
is.
be
We
kind,
all
and we
have
have
inherent
good
sin.
souls. We all have good souls.
But by writing words down and spelling words, we can begin to mold the mindset of people and get them to operate within parameters which exist outside of natural law, outside of a white law, whereupon they are now operating within black law. A lot of language, a lot of ancient languages, you'll find in languages such as Hebrew, Aramaic, Sanskrit, even Chinese. These types of languages are not spelled. You'll find that there is a symbol which will convey an entire word, and the symbol may convey a different word if used in conjunction with different symbols, such as Hebrew. There's like 6 meanings for each letter, but each letter is an actual word. It's not a language that is spelled. Another interesting thing about English is that English is a direct phonetic reversal of Hebrew. So we're basically all speaking backwards when we speak English. We're speaking sounds that are completely unnatural to the natural rhythms and natural sounds, but it is in the spelling and the symbolism that is contained within the language that the mental and psychological control grid is constructed. And the same can be said for numbers and geometry. You notice that there's often secret numbers around the place. The number 33 seems to be a commonly recurring theme. 42, 322, the number 9, the number 11. All of these numbers are commonly used and are therefore thought to contain certain significance. And many people spend a lot of time in gematria and study these numbers in an attempt to discover what this magic is and how it works. And the same can be said for the geometry. The Freemasons place symbols all over the place. They place designs and sigils in the very architecture and structure of the road system. They place plaques all over the place. They put the symbolism everywhere they possibly can. And these things are put there for people who have some type of knowledge of the occult and have began looking into this control grid and have began to research into all this esoteric information. But they're put there to control and misdirect the researchers. You see, they put the numbers there and they put the symbolism there so that you will notice it and you will look for it. You see, you wouldn't be constrained by this system. You wouldn't be operating out.
Okay. So that's Max Igon. And he was, he's an Australian, and he was in Australia, and things started to pop. They kept telling the truth, so they were gonna like put the bag over his head, and some spirited him out of Australia and took him to Mexico. So now he's back on the air, and he's talking like this. So he's mentioning nothing about anything, but he's talking about everything. And so, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Al Bob, and I'm here to tell you a story. And the story is what's going on right now, right? And it's an interesting story because it repeats itself often, right? It keeps coming back, and as does John. He's coming back. So you ready for breakfast? It's ready. Ready for breakfast. So do you like that tea?
This is okay.
Yeah, it's good for you. Helps you lose weight and keeps you calm.
Okay. Keeps me calm.
There you go. There's that. Take a fork.
Okay.
You want some sour cream?
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Here you go.
Ay, hondo. 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 Hondo.
Here you go. Bring it over here.
Okay. Oh, that's nice. Very good.
Get on there. Come on.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Creeping cats.
Creeping pet.
Right when you're making a bunch of food, they start creeping, acting like they're gonna like eat all the stuff that's good and eat your dead body.
Really?
No.
Leaving a dead body?
That's how they survive in nature. That's why they eat dead bodies.
Well, they
That's
kill.
why
They don't. They
that's why
kill.
they're a fucking cat.
Don't they kill the animal first? They're not.
I
Like,
better shut up.
they're not.
I better shut. They're like
They're your buddies.
they're cats. You just ignore them. They get food after we get to eat.
Don, if you
According to the
if you didn't have
meat
those,
eaters,
right,
you
association,
know, yes, association.
because
It doesn't matter.
if you didn't
I
have
don't know
those
if that
cats
means
here,
anything.
this place would be covered in mice. Your cats do a good job keeping the mice
Dear
away.
God and Jesus, please help us do your work on earth. Help us do your work on earth. Please. How else did you ask God? Do you make demands of God? Do you ask God to help you on earth?
Not
Do
really.
your work on earth?
No,
Because
you offer
you're able
yourself.
to
You offer
do enough on
yourself.
your own. How can you judge
You don't.
what you're capable
You don't.
of doing on your own?
You don't.
And demanding help.
You do not judge.
That's why I asked. You know,
What you do is your best.
Kindly.
You just do your best
Okay.
because you can't be
This
perfect.
is for in Jesus'
But you
name,
can-
amen.
You can do your best. Oh, baby.
It's a cat. You ignore the cat. It's not gonna hurt anyone. What is it gonna do? Tiny little scratches with its fingernails?
That is good stuff.
Yeah, it tastes good.
Yep.
Eat food. Is that you who wants me to eat more food? Like to be healthy? Or is that
Yeah.
angels? I get the thought. Eat. you know, instead of fasting. Instead of fasting and finally having low enough body fat,
Yeah, but fasting in the wintertime,
which must be wrong.
all it'll do is keep the fat on your body.
How would they do that?
Because your body,
That's an old way of thought that I thought was true years. It doesn't make any sense. I don't see how eating less food is going to make you gain more weight.
no, eating, like,
Or fasting.
not
There,
eating,
there are ways that you have. It's called giving 110%, working at something that hard to really actually fucking see the results.
well, how's it doing?
You know, well, I had lost 24 pounds of the weight that I had gained from stress.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got here, and I had to calm down and
Mhm.
get along with you better.
Mhm.
But I guess I look okay enough.
Yeah.
And a couple of days ago, I had lost more weight,
Okay.
and I got in really good shape upstairs, and I didn't film it.
Hmm.
And then I had to eat more food, and then I got sad yesterday, and I ate like almost an entire bag of popcorn.
Mm-hmm.
And it had chocolate on it,
Mhm.
but dark chocolate, which, you know, there's this bodybuilder, this person who is a super health fanatic,
Right.
is super low weight, and he did one cycle of steroids so he has more muscle on, but he pretends that he didn't.
Mhm.
But he's really healthy, and he studies all the nutritional information and stuff, and he's like one of the leading experts on health and fitness. And he says dark chocolate is really healthy.
It is.
It may not have protein in it. I don't know if there's a small amount of protein in it or not, but it's dark chocolate is healthy. And
But-
he eats it without the added sugar,
Mhm.
just the dark chocolate.
Right.
And it has these benefits that I think you can only get from dark chocolate
Well,
and
chocolate
other
does-
kinds of chocolate.
Yep.
You know, that may have some sugar or milk chocolate or something like that, but it's from chocolate. So, I tried to rationalize that, you know, there wasn't much protein in the food. It made me feel awful in that because I was sad.
Uh-huh.
I'm sad, and I ate this thing of popcorn last night. But I had gotten in really good shape. And then when I woke up, I felt amazing. This morning, I felt like everything was okay. I didn't have to lose any more weight or do any more than I had already done. It was okay like it was. I was happy with where things were and are, or I don't know.
Mm.
And that's how God wants us to be.
You know, John,
Happy with
you are a
the way
Libra.
things are, not desire more.
You are a
Not
Libra.
desire more than but we have to keep working and I think it's okay to set goals. I don't see what's wrong with setting goals.
Goals are fine as long as you
Don't
don't.
you leave all the results up to God and Jesus?
Well, yeah.
Because that's what I did, and then all of a sudden I have like a net worth. Well, a net worth. Well, if you consider real estate or your own house that you own and the value of that is a net worth, then it is a net worth, I guess. But before that, I didn't know what I had, and all I did was do God's work, be kind to others, work really hard at the work I had to do to this house, and left it all the results up to God and Jesus.
So
And
what
for-
happens
for a
when you-
while? I wasn't seeing results on my videos. I wasn't seeing results in the house. I was a little discouraged, but I didn't worry about it. I kept being kind and godly. I didn't know if I had $0 or what, but I worked hard. I worked really hard at sometimes.
So what happens
And then
when
by
you
some
get
miracle,
angry?
God
What happens
gave me this
when you get mad?
a
When
bunch
you
of
get
money.
angry?
Like I thought I had a bunch of money, and there are these miracles that God gives us that we may not be planning on, and sometimes it's things that we work towards, and it happens also according to God's will. And
The biggest miracle that we get from God is our life. So what happens when we want to take our own life? What's going on when that happens?
too much work to do, too much relentless work and effort at being a good person.
and too much for us to
Makes
do.
you, if doing that makes you want to be suicidal?
The way things got with like, I don't know what depression's from, but I think it's from our sin. But it's not anymore. With me, it's not anymore. I have a good feeling it's not anymore. I don't have to be depressed, and it's not for
You
my
don't?
own sin. It's something else. The reason why I got depressed. Like I can actually, maybe I'm supposed to be able to not be depressed.
Yes. Do you think that the emotions that we feel, we manifest ourselves, meaning we cause these? It isn't some outside force. It isn't like some voice coming in. It isn't like somebody making fun of you downtown or in another country. That we basically cause our own.
What are you talking? I don't understand.
What is in our life, do you feel, is manifested by ourselves or some outside force? You know, when people go, the devil made me do it. They don't take responsibility for the fact what they do.
Well, the devil doesn't make anyone do anything, but they may get tricked by the devil and take the wrong action, take the wrong action because they were worried about things that may happen to themselves, or because they got driven by fear, or for whatever reason the devil may trick people into sin. And I guess, I know we are all responsible for our own sin.
Right.
But because we're human, and the devil really kind of messed things up a little bit with getting us to sin, and that causes our suffering and all these things that go wrong with us as human beings to make us die. But still, we're good, and we're all going to die one day, but that's not that bad of a thing. Like, it's still pretty good on earth. And so we try our best to be kind and good.
What causes us not to be kind and good? What causes us to burst out in anger and vile?
I don't know. What causes us to not?
Burst out of being good and kind. It's like we have this line.
What happened yesterday that made me yell?
Mhm.
It was talking about these. It was because I had been trying to finally lose weight that made me feel like that I felt like all the things I got to enjoy on earth were at jeopardy. And I had worked so relentlessly for 3 days, even the past 3 days. And of course, since I was 12 years old, but I'm not trying to do this. I'm not trying to do a horror.
What happened?
But the thing is, I deprived myself of food. And because I got the thought, go eat food, like it's good to eat food instead of fasting.
Right.
Which I would prefer to have lower body fat and fasted.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it wasn't as healthy, but I didn't understand why. So I had to make myself come down here to eat food because it was supposed to be something good.
You were hungry.
But then right before I got to eat, I was like, wow, I've really been working out a bunch. I was getting in better shape. So I was like, one time before I eat, I'm going to show my physique. And it was filming. And I tried to show myself looking really in awesome shape and stuff. But he didn't like that.
You didn't
like that.
Why? Why didn't I like that?
And then you
Why
started
didn't I
saying,
like? Why did I even?
I don't know.
Why? But I
That because
I
that
didn't
bothered you
care.
for
No,
all
it
the
didn't.
things that
It
you
didn't.
stand for.
It didn't
that
bother
you
me. It didn't bother me.
Worry about.
It didn't bother me. I didn't even know.
And somehow
I didn't even know that you wanted to do all of this. And then
I'm
I
eating
picked up a
food now.
spatula. Yes, you're eating food now. So we won't talk about this. But the thing is, if we want to, the Bible says, and our friend Toole said it, God helps those who help themselves. Meaning, the most important thing to you is what?
God and Jesus, the Holy Spirit, God.
God and Jesus. are always with us.
as described in the Bible in New Testament.
They're always in spelled out words. What about your children?
That's all talked about in the New Testament. It says you do your best to be a good parent and raise your children, bring them up in the ways of the Lord, kindness to others. Don't get a misconstrued devil's wrong idea about it. When the devil tried to distort the truth, God's truth, it says in the Bible, God's truth. You try to not let things
But that can only be done by a parent.
you don't make up your own stupid ass wrong belief system that's not based on the New Testament and is not true and not real. You read the actual Bible. I don't mean to be a jerk about it, but you read the actual Bible, which shows how reality is as we know it. And that's what everything's really about. And I'm not trying to get the glory for it. God gets all the glory for it. I'm a regular man. I sin. I mess up. I don't know, all the time what's, but I know God has all the answers and Jesus has all the answers. God has all the answers. And when people make up their own rules to life, that's wrong and bad. And it's living in the dark. They don't, or it's like,
You're right on.
it's like
Keep going.
they're
You're right
relying on faith alone.
No. They're what they're doing.
They're relying
They're
on
living in the
faith,
dark.
and they may not have faith because they don't know what the reality of things are. They don't know what reality is, which is God and Jesus, kindness to others. There are all these ways it shows in the Bible that we're supposed to be, and
Those things in the Bible that says
Kindness
we're
to
supposed
others.
be. What is that? That's us living the example, correct? That's what we're supposed to do. Live the example. Right?
yeah, and as
Not
a
just
father,
talking,
you be a good father. Like I've gone there 7 times. I've gone there 7 times up until my kids were about 12 years old or however old, 10, 14, something like that, 12.
No, you were there. They were when you
I
got
went there 7 times.
Yeah.
You like going out in public.
right.
I fucking usually don't.
You can't stand it. It
What?
makes you
I
nervous.
don't know what to say about it, but it's not like my dream came true and I'm in Los Angeles walking down the street where everything's happy and warm weather and everything was okay the way that I thought things would finally get to be from my relentless effort all those years. Instead, it's like they're in fucking Texas. I'm not supposed to make fun of the place, but it's like constantly for others out there sometimes. And I don't know what enjoyment there is for myself.
Well,
And the Bible acknowledges doing to others as you would do unto yourself.
right.
So it acknowledges that we want to be kind to ourselves,
Right. Exactly.
but that's not the whole idea. The idea is be kind to others. So I think God has me here in this place
all
that
by yourself.
people don't do movies out there. I don't know what I would relate to that they do other than God.
Well,
And
well,
Jesus,
so
and,
we do that.
and that's about all that I can think of
Well, then
that
do
I
that.
understand
Then
about
do
why
that. That's
why
a
they
good
are
thing.
the way they
That's
are.
a good thing.
And it's not like I'm walking down, it's not like things turned out the way I thought they would.
They never do. You think my life turned out the way I thought it would do?
And already the worry. Oh, you think your life did not turn out the way that
I thought it would.
How did you think your life would be?
Well, early on, the bottom line is that I never thought about a specific, I want to be this or that. At every moment, from the moment I stuck that knife in the electric socket at 6 months old,
So you were pretty close to God's plan for you.
yeah, pretty much.
Instead of those other people have a selfish personal
I
plan.
just let
Which
God,
I don't think I have a selfish personal plan that much. There are things I enjoy
And
But you
I
don't
do
even enjoy them, John. You totally
enjoy what?
That's-
I've been
that's
at
the
that for
question.
fucking since 1990 something,
And did you enjoy it ever?
and still haven't gotten back 1% of what I thought my life would get to be from from working that hard, because I enjoyed it, and because I thought my life would be the way that I thought it would get to be, like all those things that I enjoyed, like really long hair.
Like being an A-lister,
I never
By
got to
being
have really
rich.
long hair.
by having people be
Like,
fabulous.
No,
Aren't
not
you great?
not in particular rich, but finally loved.
So you were married, you had a wife, and you had kids,
But then
and they loved you. And
why do you think that I have some? Do you think? But you okay? You want to talk about you? But you didn't have a particular goal or plan that was so important to you for it to be that way. So it helped you to
My
to-
plan,
to
my
follow-
plan was to, in every day and every
to
way,
follow
be
through
my
God's
best, to
God's plan
serve
for-
God's love. That's been my plan all along since I was 6 months old. And in following that path, I've had a very interesting life, right? And whenever I come into a circumstance, I do my best. Like right here, we're stuck up here, we can't go down. I'm here, and I don't say stuck. I'm here to serve you, my friend, to get in a place where you can be happy, where you live in this beautiful house out in this beautiful
This
land.
morning I was finally okay.
Okay.
I felt I've done enough, whatever, at what I thought I had to constantly work at, and everything was okay. And it was like, it was okay. Okay, I haven't gotten as many views as I thought I would get, but that was like kind of okay. But you know, I had to. I don't want to worry about that too much. That people don't understand how relentlessly I worked at that since the 90s to get so little. Like on my channel, it's 11,400,000 views. I had a YouTube channel since 2006. I was working at that same thing. You were doing those different jobs that you did.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, you
I did
did
a lot of different stuff. I just didn't do that. Yep. I did a lot of different stuff.
and I had to work at real estate for my parents or whatever. The people in my life, I had to do real estate.
Yeah, but you know, you
I
had
had to.
you had
I
that.
don't think it's cool. There's fucking nothing. I almost very little for myself about that I think is cool.
Yeah, but
You know, that's not getting to be Tommy Lee, Nikki Sixx, and Vince Neil when I was 10 years old and I saw the way they looked and the music they played. And finally, that was something amazing that I thought would happen. It's not that, you know, it's not him getting out of a Corvette in little teeny tiny shorts, almost naked, but he's covered up his private, so it's not sexual at all. There's nothing that bad about it. It's really cool looking long hair. He has no shirt on, and he gets out of a new, like a 70s Corvette in the 80s, and he's just walking down the street, and he's really cool, has no worries. And, you know, I thought that was so cool, and it never happened. Nothing like that ever happened for me.
You don't think that guy has worries?
I don't know. I can't judge him, and I don't want to be like him. He may be a false idol, and he's the same as a random person in a grocery store.
Pretty much.
You know,
Yeah.
Of course, different because he has a different soul. But you know, he may be no different, and you may be way better off to be more like the person in the grocery store
Pretty much.
for all he's gone through. He may have had to suffer, and who knows what. But the thing that I wanted to finally get to do was to be that famous and loved, and be like that. That was something I enjoyed to work at for myself.
Why couldn't you love yourself?
That was what I enjoyed.
Okay.
That was what I thought I enjoyed.
So now
It's been like a constant deprived of the results of that never happened,
well, maybe
and having to work so much. At it.
maybe it was a
And
gift.
maybe I got a little bit from what people think that they see, but to really know how hard I had to work at it, which didn't start out off as me being some good looking person who's in front of camera. it was all the real work to do the entire
John,
film.
you're a good looking
When
guy.
you didn't know what I looked
You
like.
showed
or
me a
not.
picture
It
of
was my work.
yourself. How old were you? Like 18 in that picture, that group of guys?
I guess I was okay or whatever.
You were. You
I don't
didn't
know.
look any worse, or you looked just like the rest of those guys. You said, this guy's the most popular. Well, you looked as good as he
Well, I'm happy with how it is, and I don't want to act like, it makes me kind of want to die. I don't want to think about it too much because I think there's something in the future that's finally going to happen for my work in film and video. Because I can't tell people, I'm not supposed to say how little it's actually gotten in return. And I'm supposed to pretend because I think out of nowhere, it's going to really finally happen. Something, not an A-list actor, not the biggest, most popular one, but finally seeing the money from that to where I know in security that that's making enough money or, enough money so I can pay for my wife and kids because they're from a family that, or Danica and my kids, whatever I call her, and having enough money
why don't you have your boys here?
To where I know.
Why don't you have your boys here and just be happy with having? They would change your life so amazingly if they were in your life. And she said, Rowan.
At one time she said Rowan can.
Right, and she's up for that. And Rowan's of age; he can make his own mind up.
Then where's Ivan and the baby? Where are they? Why would I want to only have one of my children?
Because it's one at a time. You get one, and you have.
Who says that? Who made that rule?
It's not a
one at a
rule.
time?
It's
Who
just
said that?
it's just a common sense kind of thing. If you
Those
want,
they're my children, and I should be there for them.
then you should go to Texas and be there for them. But it's too difficult for you to do it.
That is what caused the depression that I had. That was.
So my parents,
but it's not because
They-
I can go to Texas now probably.
Right.
There's some way I can just go there and it'll be okay.
right?
But I've been thinking about it too much or worried about it, and for some reason I didn't go. I don't know.
I mean, I was here too. I said, let's drive, and we didn't. Let's get on an airplane. We didn't.
It made me want to die. I
Why-
don't know why I haven't been able to go there.
Right, because
I had to go there 7 times.
you're scared.
There are people in Roanoke who live here who can't imagine having to go outside of Roanoke to some place. If their children got taken away from them.
Right.
And because of that, they made the law in Virginia that anytime a spouse takes the children away from Virginia, they have to come back.
Well, how come you?
Because
but
people
you have
are
to go to
kind of
court.
that
You
way.
have to
And
go
I'm
to
a little
court.
that way like them around here too, a little bit. But, something about LA. I like LA.
So why don't you go to LA?
My children are not there.
But LA is closer
It's
to
difficult.
Texas than
My children are not there. My children are the most important.
they're not here.
LA is a small thing, or something big that's not as important as human beings who are my own children, and a little bit Danica, and gives a fuck else in Texas that much, which is wrong to say because I care about her parents and people like that who took them there. I shouldn't say too much about it, but I want them here. And I don't know how to get them here.
As the Bible says, those who help themselves. God helps those who help themselves. So you
It
have
says
to.
God helps those who help themselves.
Yes, it pretty
The
much.
Bible, or is that for
No,
someone
no,
else?
that's the Bible says that.
Do you know what verse it is or how to look it up?
Let's see. Let's go to Google.
God helps those
Right.
who help
Let's
themselves.
see what Google says.
Do you know if that
Well, just 1 second, John.
is that really from the Bible?
Yeah, it's really from. God helps those who help themselves. Where does that come from?
According to Quora, the English phrase comes from 17th century English politician and political philosopher Algernon Sidney in his work Discourse Concerning Government.
Yeah. See, it's
This
not the
is the earliest
Bible.
known use of the exact phrase, God helps those who help themselves.
Philosopher.
Okay, let's try
It's
this.
kind of like how
Can I ask Google?
it's not from the Bible.
Where does God helps those who help themselves appear in the Bible?
According to Petoskey News Review, Romans chapter 5 verse 8 says, "While we were yet still sinners, Christ died for us." When it comes to the saying, "God helps those who help themselves," we should recognize our own inconsistency.
What
How does it say? I don't see how it's.
What does that mean? How does God helps those who help themselves
I don't know.
in the Bible when it comes to human inconsistency?
I'd have to do the research on my own. I can tell what.
Romans
you know.
chapter 5 verse 8 says, "While we were yet still sinners, Christ died for us." When it comes to the saying, "God helps those
Maybe
who
you
help
know.
themselves," we should recognize
You
our own
obviously know a bunch
inconsistency.
about that.
We excuse this by pointing to the fact that God will provide according to his will and in his timing.
In his timing, in his will, and I know.
So,
You know, I mean, maybe I'll get to heaven or something. And then, you know,
John,
this is not,
everyone gets
this
to go
is
to
not
heaven.
what I
Everyone
thought
gets to go to
it
heaven.
would feel like being alive.
Everyone gets to go to heaven. This life has been given to us as a great
There are
gift.
things that I'm not supposed to share with you because
Sometimes
you'll take.
I'll
You
take
fucking take in a selfish way out of your own fucking wrong idea about things because you think that because you didn't want to admit that
yeah.
that I thought, which may be wrong or right, I thought that you didn't interpret the Bible properly. I thought that you didn't interpret the Bible properly because you read it and you read all the Bible, but how can you know what every word and the intricate, you know, meanings and layers of one sentence that could be like a book on its own of a prophecy, and you have to really understand what it really means. How could you know that you got that right when you're just reading through the Bible?
John.
How do you know
John.
what it? It's difficult to
John.
interpret the Bible.
John.
It takes time and effort to really
John.
understand what it means.
John.
People,
First off,
it's like sometimes people just get it. Sometimes people just get it when they're reading it, and I think you just get it when you're reading it sometimes. But other times, I think people don't get it, and then because of my way of having to do creative writing and work at it a bunch, and read and reread and understand and look up and all the ways that I tried to put meaning behind my writing and also and more than that, the Bible, you know, because of the ways that I am, I think you took offense to it to act like you thought that your ways are the best. So instead you took something from me that you thought, you know, didn't matter in a selfish way. Like, who cares if I ever see my dream come true? Because you can't understand what that means to me. So you didn't care anyway, as long as, you know, your ways are the best that you study and you know the best, because don't make a commentary on me, John, just because you went to all those schools. You know, like, who cares if the things happen? And it made me want to die.
So you're saying that I made you want to die?
No, the way that I thought things were based on how you said. No, you're good.
Yeah, I'm good.
I mean,
I just have to.
that's another nonsense thing. You're good. What the fuck does that mean? Good has so many different meanings. The Bible is what it's really about, not people's made up ways of living that they think serves themselves to feel okay when they're in the fucking dark. I'm sorry, they're in the dark. And I was too when I was younger and I didn't have the Bible. And when people make up random ass ways of living, you know, twice, dude. Always twice. So 3 times, you're out. See? That's how I do. And then they live according to that BS.
Uh-huh.
It's wrong. It's wrong. It's a nonsense made up belief. And some people, they make billions of dollars at their BS, and then they're taken down to hell for all eternity.
because it's meanness. It's tricks of the devil that empowered them with the devil's wrongful ways to be that mean and work in unrighteousness their entire lives and create lies so they didn't get in trouble for it. They created lies so they don't get taken to jail. And they're thinking one thing in their mind, crush and destroy all these people, and so they can take the money for themselves. But when they open their mouth, it's a lie that covers their tracks so they don't get in trouble for it because they're workers of unrighteousness. Some of them, when they go too far with their nonsense-ass beliefs. But most people who are atheists and don't believe in God and Jesus, I don't know. I can't judge. Everyone's a little different, but I don't know.
Here, John.
But God knows.
John, here.
God and Jesus knows. I know about God and Jesus.
Okay, that's good. You're good.
But maybe
You're
I don't
welcome.
know. Maybe I can't judge some of those people. Maybe that's not how they are.
Yes.
And I was angry about things that were done to me, and I blamed others, but I didn't know.
You know, and you should kind of give me, your only friend at the moment, who's here to try and help you to judge me, you know? But I understand, you know, and I'm not trying to take anything from you, John. I'm here to help you, to do my best, to be a good example. And I don't pretend to be able to ferret out the Bible, you know? Just don't do it, you know? I have a strong connection to the spirit of love that is God and Jesus. And I try to manifest that in my heart through my actions, that you can say, oh, look what he's doing. And so that's it for me. And all I can say is, here, take this upstairs and enjoy it. What happens to that? Your fork. Here you go. Okay?
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Great. How great you are.
No, I'm not great. I'm just me. You know, simple sugar. I'm not great. We're all great.
Harry Potter's hat. Harry Potter hat.
No.
How great you'll be.
No. This
isn't
Harry Potter's hat. This is a Dollar Tree hat to keep my bald head warm.
Not you. I wasn't talking about you in particular.
No,
I was talking about, you want to hear something weird that I thought?
What?
I tried it, when I first got to this house before I knew God and Jesus as much, I was a little in the dark. I believed in God, I believed in Jesus, but I didn't read enough about the Bible to know what it said, and I didn't understand as much as I understand now.
Yes.
I got the thought, how great you are, how great you'll be, how great you'll be. You want like somebody like a temptation. Look at your face. It would be funny if it showed his face. He was staring straight ahead, and it was saying, how great you'll be. But maybe great is good. You know, there are some ways great can be good, but generally not. God is everything good. Great stands for more the way Jesus will come to earth in power and glory, great power and glory. However, Jesus had to suffer. He had to really suffer on earth. And you can't expect to only get to feel good all the time and serve yourself, because that's wrong and bad. And that's kind of great, is like getting to always be the best and feel the best. Or not literally, you know, but like, you know, getting to feel and be, you know, almost, you know, have more good feeling. Like,
What makes a good feeling?
well, it may or may not be from sin, because the sin we do
it may be just feeling okay and being good, but it has many different meanings.
Would you say
Word
that
good and great, but
feeling
I
good?
prefer the word good because that's the Bible's good. It has nothing to do with Trump
Would you
being
say?
against Obama or
Would
something
you
like
say
that.
that
Or Obama being against Trump,
that feeling
whatever it is.
being in the flow of Jesus and God's love?
God is everything good. God created everything good.
God
God
created
created
God created
everything
the devil. God created sin.
So
God
how
created
is
all.
great, which means more like feeling good in an earthly way is possible, or being good for their souls, but in an earthly way too. Great
Yeah.
means in an earthly way and for their souls.
So if that
So
is
how can that always be good? It's impossible.
no,
And that's like a philosopher's
If
look
you-
at a
if you-
sinful way of doing it. But I'm saying great is not what God always
great is what God
created
always
when he created everything good.
He did.
He created everything good. The devil created things that are bad and sinful and everything bad. And some of that's great. And some of the good people are and good things are great.
Would you say that being in
But
the
why
flow,
would you say things are why would you say things
that-
are great?
would you say that being in the flow of God's love is what we should be working at? I mean, if in your best way, doing your best, being your best in God's
Maybe,
love.
but I'm getting out of here. I don't know.
Okay. So what do you guys think?
What do you think? You just 5 of you there. So what do you think? What do you think? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with your Sensei Al Bob. We've been going on for 56 minutes and 56 seconds. Another good synchronistic moment. And I started out talking with a dream that I had because I was listening to Max Igon. The internet has come back. I'm on talking to you on my laptop. So, I've been having IT issues. When I do a show on this, it actually does it, puts it in, but it doesn't put it up on the channel that you see. It puts it on when you go to my site, my YouTube site, and has all that stuff, and it says videos, which are the ones that are up there. If you hit history and hit your videos, and I don't know if you can see those, but everything is there. Now, to translate it from there to there is a question. Now, that little technical glitch is interesting because it pretty much goes straight to what you just saw with our People's Saint of Truth. I mean, everything he was saying was truly amazingly cognitive of what's going on without any idea of what he's talking about. It's like he's a savant, and I would say that's what he is, And he's not an idiot. He's quite a smart guy. But he's not smart enough to realize that all he has to do is, what he wants to do, which is what's right. But he ends up doing some of the most mean, cruel. I mean, I didn't catch it on the video, or did I? I'm not quite sure. But I mean, you've seen him. He's like going off and over nothing. And because he's like, our friend said, the People's Saint of Truth. He's got this line right down here. It's like, and he's manifesting or showing us the duality of our two sides of our heads, our left and right hemispheres. And he's like in constant, stress of I don't know what to do, because he can't balance the two sides. And that's pretty much it. Like he's going, you're going to take something from me. I'm really? Please. There's nothing to take. All I've been doing is giving, right? You know, and why does he not? It's pretty simple. When I'm telling you should eat, not eat this, the bag of popcorn covered in chocolate, and he bought like a ton of those, and he gave me one, and I still haven't opened it, right? Because I don't want to eat it. Some moment I might, I'm sure it tastes good, but I've had a chocolate bar up there for the last 2 weeks, right? And I've just nibbled little bits of it, and that's good. Like I was talking about dark chocolate, it's good, but not that stop because it's a big chocolate bar. It was on sale. Meaning everything I buy is, pretty much on sale because I don't have any money, right? And I've been feeding John from the food that I have purchased. Bought a lot of vegetables, rice. And that's what I cook up. Beans, rice, vegetables, pretty much, and maybe chicken and cheese once in a while. And that's pretty much all I eat. When I eat it, I'll just have one now. I'll have another one in a couple hours, another one in a couple hours, another one before 5 o'clock, and that's it for me. And since I've been here, I've lost 2 pounds. I gained anything, lost 2 pounds, right? And that's kind of, I'm not losing a ton, 40 pounds yesterday. No, just, 2 weeks, a pound a week, and it's cold. My body wants to keep some fat on me. So these are pretty known things, right? And everything that John says is right on. But Kant, he was the French Freud. And, his base, Freud said everything's sex. But Kant said everything that you say about somebody else, you're talking about yourself. And every time I talk about somebody else, first thing what am I saying here? That's about me, right? So that's how I kind of look at all this stuff. So I'm interested in. There's 8 of you now. So what are you guys thinking? Let's have a little chat. That's why they call it a chat. And you can chat. Tool chatted. Anthony chatted. What do you guys have to say about what you just saw? What you heard? What did you think of Max Igon? You should go look at what he said. Let's see what they call it. Oop-a-doop-boop-boo. Oh. And John is, he's read the Bible. He has not thought about the Bible. He reads it as this is truth. This is it, without realizing its historical, political, social, economic context, right? And my whole realization of things is I don't know anything. I keep saying this. Don't believe a word I say, right? And there I am live. Okay, let's see. Library. So wake up is the thing. And the other one, everyone must know the truth. So that was another good one about truth. So Max Igon, he, again, when you listen to that guy or anybody, you shouldn't believe anything. What I try and do as a creator is tell you stories, show you things that make you go, and you think internally, and you bring that co-creation of love into your thought process, right? And so, look at this place. Here is, the kitchen. This is where, I'm at. And look at John painted this. He painted the floor, right? And he views it as a piece of art. But, like I said, I used to do things called installation pieces that were in buildings. And it was art, and people saw it as art. But at a certain point, it would be taken away and just thrown out in the garbage, And that's why things of that nature weren't sellable in the art world. So here's, whoops, got a little thing of rain on there. You don't want that. So look how nice this is. He's got 10 acres all the way up there, right? Oh, it's snowing now. Don't snow. It's just started to melt. Don't snow. Cut it out. Because, that's what I have to get down. And it's, a riverbed for 2 miles. And it's really icy and slippery. And I'm not going anywhere until it's dry and clear. So, but he's got this, so I come out here and shovel a little snow, and I do my best to clean things up. And John just goes upstairs and worries, and then eats some popcorn and drinks a high energy drink, and then comes down and gets upset. And it sure wasn't healthy to me, being, most people would think, this is a violent situation, but it wasn't. It's John going off. And it's quite interesting how the word praise Jesus kind of slows that down, and using our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. So that's a powerful prayer. That really kind of, and it's one of those, like Max was talking about Hebrew, that it's not like our language where we have an alphabet that spells out words, and those words are spells, signs, right? And in Hebrew, each letter represents, it's like Chinese, each letter represents a character or a word into itself. And that's why they have it in a big roll. The Torah is in a roll. They roll it out on a big table, and they read it with a pointer. And then also each letter represents a number, which goes into basically an equation, and that's what the Kabbalah is about. It's more about the esoteric side of the Torah, right? And so, because it's the word of God, and the older version, in my mind, is a little closer to God. Because the newer version is more especially in the King James, has been manifested as a business plan. Now, that's my opinion. I don't believe it. It's just an opinion. I have other opinions on it, and the only thing I rule my life by is my faith in love's co-creation. Because beliefs can, if you believe in something, it's very easy, and most people do get thrown. Why do people lose their belief in God or their religion or whatever they believed in? Because it's based on something that people have been told rather than what they felt, right? And what I was trying to get with John about what is feeling good? Well, to me, feeling good is being in alignment with God's love, and to, in my own way, to be my best in every day and every way. Do my best. Not try, but do my best. Now, I'm not perfect, so, and I'm a moron, and so things screw up, but we can do our best. And if we, and I've never had any real central plan. Every day I wake up and I just go forth. I might have something to do that day, especially when I had a business, I had to do this, that, or the other thing, this project, that project. When I was an artist, I worked on art, and I did it, and all of that, even my electric work. Why I was such a good electrician was that I was doing it in service to God's love, right? In every day and every way. And, still as an electrician, I don't do it too much as, my mainstay, because you see me, I'm like, I can barely move, so can't go up on ladders. I'm gravitationally challenged. Getting down on the ground, I just don't, unless I can crawl over to a couch or something and crawl up the couch, I'm not getting up. So, I can't do that, but I can run jobs pretty well. And last spring, I was in Boone, and so I've been in near there. I've been in that whole neck of the woods, Asheville, Boone, that whole, Johnson City, since when did I go there? 90, went to Asheville in 91. So from 91 till now, I've been in that neck of the woods, but I also been in Europe, and I've also been all over the United States, and I've been all over the place, right? I don't stay in any one place, wherever. Like John has stayed here since he threw me out last time, which was last September in 2018. That's when the last time he threw me out. And I driven all the way here, 200 miles to see him. But I also was going to see my doctors, also going to see a bunch of other people, also had a whole bunch of things and other places to stay, right? But I got here around, 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock. And, I brought some groceries. I started making something to eat. And so I made him a meal. And he said, "Oh, this is the best meal. Oh, this is so good. Oh, wow." And then something just got in his head, and he started going off, and like what we were talking, could easily gone south, right? Because he was having a great time yesterday morning, and then just like that, because I held up a spatula and called it a butt scratcher, and you made my food with that, I was like, and then he just, and that is not allowing God to help you navigate your life, when you can just pop up that way. What that is you're letting ancillary things, bother you, right? So anyway, last spring, driving through, and I went by this company, electric company that I had worked for like years and years ago. But there it is, still there, and he's got a whole bunch of new trucks, right? And I drive in, and I'm not quite sure that the old guy who started that business and ran it was still there, because he was old when I worked for him, right? When I was 40-something, he was, pushing 70, so now he'd be pushing 120. So, but I drove in there because I saw all these brand new trucks with the name of the business on it. So I drove in. It was, right around, quitting time. And I walked into the office, and there, this kid that I knew because he was a kid working for his dad. And, and he kind of looks at me, and he goes, "Yeah, it's me." And he goes, "Really? I thought you were my dad's age, and he's dead by 20 years. So I thought you'd definitely be dead." I said, "No." I said, "So I see you're really expanding. And because that business had been there for a long time, right?" So, in 2021, they were, expanding and building lots of stuff. The rich people come up here and really buying up everything. So he had a lot of work, but he had a lot of guys. If he has 8 trucks, that means he's got 8 people or more, because usually you send a couple guys out in a truck. So anyway, I was saying, "How you doing?" And his girlfriend was there. And she said, "Not too well." And I said, "So these guys are screwing up. You got a ton of jobs, and they're all over the place, and they're always screwing up. And then you can't even keep up to try and fix the stuff they're screwing up. And so pretty much you owe all this money on all this money you borrowed to buy trucks and expand your business, and you are about to collapse, aren't you?" And he goes, "Yeah." And then he almost starts to cry. And so his wife/girlfriend goes, "Well, so what do you know?" And I tell her the story, and I said, I worked with this guy's father, and his father had the same issue. He had a lot of people who didn't know what they were doing. And he goes, "You mean like me?" The kid has some issues. He's expanded just to show his ghost of his father that he's better than he is. And that's not the best thing to do for business. And so I said, "So what I did for your dad. He had the same problem. He couldn't find people who could really, not screw up. And I just went around and helped them not screw up. Why don't you hire me to do that? I could use a little employment. And, I can do a little, I can terminate, I can do panels, but, I can't go up on ladders. I can't, I'm gravitationally." And he goes, "Well, you'll have to apply online." Really? you got this real difficult situation you got yourself in. It was one that your father got in. I showed up when he was in the same situation you're in now, but you're probably worse off than he is because he's a little smarter than you are. He got really upset with that. And because I knew this guy wasn't going to hire me, even though it was in his best rigging interest. I mean, I could like save him hundreds of thousands of dollars in the end of his business and make him more on the other side for just, I don't know, $50 a day, $100 a day, nothing, right? Because he's probably paying those guys $120 a day. No one who kind of knows what they're doing would work now without less than that. Me, I would, because I got nothing else to do, Show up there early in the morning, have a cup of coffee, leave my vehicle there, drive around in one of their trucks, bringing materials and stuff because I've got cell phones. So what's Charlie? I don't even have to go anywhere. Charlie, what are you doing? Okay. How you doing? Okay. Need anything? Okay. I'll be right there. Right. So I could have done that because I did it for his dad. He was working there and I did it for him, made him look better. But his ego, especially when I said that thing about, he's worse off than his dad. And they said, but I have got 8 trucks. I said, oh, that's good. You don't have them. The bank has them. I mean, I kept, I'm a cheeky monkey. I don't need that job. It would be fun. It would be interesting. I like doing that work. I could help that guy. I'd help all of those people. He's probably got, 20 employees, right? I could make sure they don't lose their job by the business going under, right? Anyway, he goes, you have to apply online. I said, come on, you own this. You're the boss, right? I'm here now. You know me. I work for your dad. I'm probably still on the book somewhere in your record. Come on. I could really help. I could. But you don't want to. And I just told him the lesson that he needed to learn right there. And he didn't say no. He just said, oh, I think about it. Right. And I said, what would really be good is if you were to bring high school students in here as apprentices, and then you could train them. If I was here, I would train them to be really good electricians, not like the chuckleheads you have employed out of desperation. And the wife/girlfriend said, I'm a school teacher and I'm a counselor, and we actually have some kind of program that is supposed to do that, but we never do it. But we get, $100,000 a year, and then it just goes in the general thing, and we don't even use it for, counseling. And that's where it's supposed to go. Anyway, so she goes, she gave me this guy's phone number, who's in charge of that school system. And I called him up and, left a message about what my experience and what I could do. And then I, waited, didn't hear anything for a couple of days, called him again, waited a couple of days. And then I called his boss. I found out who his boss was and called that guy up. And that guy didn't even know there was a program. And he was the boss of the guy. Right. And then I called up the guy who was the head of, the school system and said, I'm looking at your statistics and you're failing in educating every child in your county. And he, yes, and they, look at this, maybe 40% end up in jail. That doesn't look good for you. And he got really upset. I said, but, this is building is really booming and no one has anyone to work because you already are getting $100,000 a year to have a program to teach people those trades, and you haven't done it at all. And all this stuff's online, all these statistics are online. In the state, it names every single school district, what they get money for, where it's supposed to go, and how it's doing. That's part of No Child Left Behind, which is leaving every child left behind. So this stuff is right in front of us. Just watch, Biden go on TV, and he can't even be a Charlie McCarthy. He can't even. He's worse than a Stepford wife. And the only thing the narrative can say is that we have to, get social media to stop telling lies. No, social, what is, you shouldn't believe anything on social media. And again, good morning, good evening, and welcome aboard Dreamy Dreamland with your Sensei, Bob, your griot. He's here to tell you a story, a non-linear story that kind of is all over the place. And we're here and glad to see you. Hey there, Fish. And so, it's quite an interesting thing. So John came down for breakfast, and I said I had a dream. And the dream kind of came out of Max Igon because the internet came back on, and bingo, bango, that's why you're seeing me. I haven't seen me really in a couple of days because we haven't had the internet here. And I walked outside and showed you that I'm kind of snowed in here. There's no me going anywhere. And it's probably melted away. We had about 8 inches, and about, a little more than half has melted away. But it's the rest that's there is like ice brick, right? So until it really goes to 50 and we get some real rain, but it's supposed to get cold again and snow again. So it's like, God knows when I'm getting out of here. So, and that is it. God has put me here with John, and I'm trying to do my best. And you saw me, trying to talk to John, right? And John needed some, serious assistance to get himself, he is doing this, right? And you can't live your life when you're in a seesaw. You need why am I still alive? It's because I have what is known physically as homeostasis. I have a lot of things wrong with me, but I kind of balance it out with everything I do. My meditation, my exercise, my diet, my thought, right? My thought process are always very positive. And that annoys John too, because, he screams and yells and everyone else cringes and at me. I just sit there, and you heard him say, he's just looking straight ahead, because I'm not reacting to what he says, I'm giving him no feedback whatsoever, except for my asking him questions. I mean, that's kind of what you're supposed to do, is shrink. And now I don't have a shingle anymore, and I'm a person who was in that industry and was pretty good at it, and was well educated for it. But I thought it was hypocritical and a total sham. I could do really good. I mean, the men and women who created, who were on the forefront of realizing ancient truths and tried to communicate them to a community that might be able to be helped by them. I tried to do that, and in my every day and every way, doing my best, and I was good at it, but the way it was so transactional, and that my supervisors would say, you're really good at this, but you're kind of healing people too quickly. We need to make money out of them. You can't just, get them out the door in 5 or 6 things. We want them here for a couple of years, maybe 10, at 160 a pop. And, if you're really good, you're going to go up the ladder real fast, and if you'll be able to afford the fancy house and the swimming pool and the fancy car. And I said, I quit. And they were like, what? But you have such great promise. And I quit. Because, I basically did it. I was involved. I mean, I didn't matriculate through that process. I started like almost at the top, in that I was sent to a university that was orchestrating a study, and they sent me there to help create the protocol, right? And I did, and I stuck around long enough to where I was kind of administering the protocol because nobody wanted to do it. And then at a certain point, the person who was in charge of that and was collating all this to like bring forth in front of, whoever was paying for this, said to me, you're all over this thing. And so they're going to want to talk to you. And you're going to have to not only be the guy you are, that's always, the voice of authority, just by your presence. They're going to have to want to look bricks and mortar and where you came from and what, what's your pedigree. And so he pulled out couple pieces of paper, and he said, "Here it is." And that's how I got my master's in social work. Now, I had been studying with some of the most amazing people in that thing all over the country, and I put in hourly, probably more hours than anybody who got that degree, and did it in a vehicle where I was actually practicing that discipline. And so that's why I could talk with authority, right? And then it was flavored by all these other things I did. I mean, that's why I was good at writing protocols and administering them. And, so that's how I got my degrees in that. And I have 2 other degrees that I got, I was writing and running organizations that were being funded by an entity that would want to know what the bottom line was. And because I was involved in it in a higher level, like writing the protocols, they'd want to talk to me. And so I, again, had to have a pedigree. So I had, a pretty interesting pedigree that was like, wow, this guy has he's got more degrees than a thermometer, but it's useless. So in 2006, I guess it was 4 or 6, I think it was 6, I kind of stumbled into the corporate world and started working as a negotiator for desperate corporate lawyers, where they were trying to negotiate a thing that if they didn't, they were, the court had made them the ombudsman, so they were the negotiator, and they were given X amount of time to do it. And if they couldn't do it, the judge would just summarily decide, right? But to have it more legally fair, they gave an ombudsman, which was agreed to by both sides. But in corporate disagreements, those people are harder to work with than families or husbands and wives or whatever. And those guys couldn't get into their heads. They could just try to explain to them why it was good legally for them to do it. And these morons didn't care because they were rich, they were powerful, and they hated the other guy. So even if they lost a few mil, they were just going to stick it to everybody else because they were that kind of person. So you had to get in their head. And I was pretty good at that. And so I did that for almost, from 2006 to 2014, how many years that is. And then and in that time, and I decided I jumped into, I was at a party. I was entertaining everyone. My friend had the party, his New Year's party. He always had me there to entertain, read people's palms and their runes and, give them, cold readings. I kind of said, oh, that's amazing. I was like Kreskin. And this New Year's, my mama dog had puppies. So I had 6 puppies in a basket, and they were ready to go. They were weaned. They were past that. They all have their parvo shot. They're ready to go on to whatever. And they were all like noble dogs. Each one of them was like a movie star. Like John was talking about the guy in the sports car just wearing his underpants. That's what these dogs were. They were all like that. Because my mama dog, she was the best of the best. And the one dog that was not like, because they were all like her, black with like a white star either on their forehead or on their chest. And Homie, the runt of the litter, he was like a calico cat. He was like all over the place and a total love bug. I love you, I love you, I love you. Because when he was born, one of his siblings died, born dead. And then Homie popped out, the last one, and he was a runt. And she licked all the ones off and that looked like her and took care of them and fed them. And Homer, no. I said, no, lick this one off. Take care of this. You just can't walk away from this one. The other one was dead, but this one's not. So she did. She licked him off, gave him a little bit of the tit, and, went on her merry way. Because I kept them all. I had this kids' inflatable swimming pool, which she could step over and get out, but the puppies, they couldn't get out, right? And I kept them until they almost could get out. They were like 6 weeks old. So they were big and healthy. And Homer, he was a runt and never got quite. So I had gotten some, formula, already made like milk for babies that came in bottles and had the nipple and everything. And I fed him that, right? And I had this coat that had a big pocket on the inside. and he fit just in there. So for the first 2 weeks, he was right against my heart. He could hear my boom, 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 and it like made him so happy, made him loved. And I had in my pocket always had a bottle. Here you go, have some of this. And every now and then he would get a little bit of mama dog's tit, and so he was growing, but not like the others. They were like, ooh, super dogs. They could fly, So, and within the first week, I got them all to be house trained. Meaning, I got them because they were all staying in the swimming pool, and they have to be in their own crap. And I got them. I would put them in this basket, take them outside, put them there, and they would just and I had all kind of attached to each other. And instead of having kind of collar, I had a harness. They all had harnesses, so they never got the they just kind of quick beat, and I would tie them all together, and they'd all go in different directions, so they'd all stay in one place, but feel like they were free, right? So that's how it was. And so at 6 weeks, I finally, they all were born here, and Bella is buried out there. She had this spot that she loved, and when she started to get sick, she went and dug her own grave and would sleep there. So when she died, I wouldn't have to move her. So for about a week, instead of sleeping, and I would, keep they stayed. She and Homer stayed inside, and they stayed at my bed. But I would keep the front door open so they could just walk out and take care of business. And so anyway, all these puppies learned how to do that like within the first week or so, and they were really good at that. They would hold it. And so they were housebroken. This meant to sit. This meant to stop. This meant to lie down. And by the time they were 3 weeks old, did this, they all sat down, right? Did this, they all stopped, right? Never had to say anything. Sorry, I just got back. Was making a presentation. So what was your presentation on AI, Dr. Toole? And did you read Turing's books? The one on being a golem, and the other one about artificial intelligence that he wrote in the 1920s? That's just an aside. Go back to the dogs. So I was at this party, and I had a basket of puppies, right? And I had left Bella and Homer in the car, right? Because they knew when I wasn't in there, they would just go in the wheels, of the driver and the passenger side and go to sleep. I had nice little rugs down there, and they'd just go to sleep. Otherwise, we were driving, they would sit in the passenger side and look like this, right? And so, I didn't want them. I just had the 5 amazing puppies with me, and I had them in a basket, right? And had a nice bow on it. It was New Year's Eve, and it's a big fancy party. And this guy was old friend of mine from New York. He was an artist like I was. He was like all of us. I was the electrician. Jody was the plumber. Willie's the carpenter. Mariah the mason. Gary the painter. This guy was what did he do? Well, he was a little bit of everything, right? He was the helper guy more than the guy who was in charge. And anyway, we all did that, and then and I would make a big chunk of change and then go off someplace for a year or two, right? And then come back and do the same, right? Did that for and John keeps saying, you're a Southerner. I lived in New York City from birth to 32 years old. I don't think I'm a Southerner, right? And when I lived in all these places in Europe, people would look at me and go, "You're not an American. What are you?" And I would go, "I'm a New Yorker." Oh, yes, that makes sense, right? So, and yes, from 91 until now, I've lived in the South, but not just in one place. I just live in Asheville. I just didn't live in Johnson City. I just didn't live in Roanoke. Just didn't live in Lynchburg. Just didn't live in Florida. Just didn't live in Georgia. Didn't just live in South Carolina. These are all places I lived in for, months at a time, if not years. But, I didn't come from there, and, where I live in the deep green, everyone accepts me as a belonger. Oh yeah, he's been here a long time. He's all right, right? But I'm not one of them, right? And that's all right, because I respect them. Sad to say that they're being murdered, by modern civilization. Their style of life is not acceptable. Hillary Clinton called them, a basket of deplorables, and they're not deplorable people. They're human beings. There's only one species of human being, Homo sapiens sapiens. There isn't a black Homo sapiens sapien. There ain't a white one. These aren't separate species, like dogs. There's a Chihuahua and a Great Dane. They're both dogs. They're different breeds, but both dogs, and treated as dogs. Not as a Chihuahua dog. Or great. It's like they're dogs. And we are getting to a place where it's becoming quite evident and relevant to the general populace that things aren't as they should be. And yet, the flow of God's love is everything is as it should be. So, in my life, and John goes on about how it's so hard to go to Texas and be with my children. Oh, you don't understand. Yes, I do understand. You're anxious, you're neurotic, you have a hard time being around people, but that's because you keep yourself. He's been up here in this school all by himself for 3 years, going on 3 years, right? Since, September of 2018. No one else is, maybe his parents come up once in a while, if that, but he's been up. So, of course, he's going to be anxious around people. He's not around people. So, and he has the opportunity. His life would change for the better if his son could come here, but he won't have him unless all of them come. His ex, the daughter that is not his other son, so that's, what do you think it's doing psychologically to his oldest son that he rejects him? And his other son, he's rejecting him too. They both could come. Because the ex has homeschooled those kids since they were around. They're now teenagers and asserting their hormones and don't want to do what mom says, and she's already told them, hey, take these guys, just take them, get them out of here. But John says, no, I want you to come back and be my wife. And that's not going to happen because I'm sure she's got a boyfriend if she's not already married to somebody else, So, I have no idea, It's like I have no idea, I have no idea about anything. And John constantly blames me. What's Kitty upset about? Is Kitty outside? I don't think so. What's wrong, Kitty? You're looking out the window. Yeah. Yes, the black cat is looking out the window at the neighbor has animals and hasn't really kind of ignores them, doesn't feed them, doesn't take care of them, and just lets them roam around here. We've got a bunch of goats and a bunch of chickens. And so, definitely haven't been up here in the last, the 2 weeks that I've been here. So those poor animals haven't really been fed. Even if he left a lot of stuff for them to eat, it's pretty obvious they're not because they're hanging out up here and looking. So I look downstairs and the black cat's looking out the window at the chickens looking up at him. And they're all going, feed us. Well, I got nothing to give them, and it's not my place too, So, because I don't know whether they have a special diet or not. I have no idea what those animals are. All I can see is them kind of suffering. And it's very akin to what people do to their children, And now I've had a tough time. My parents were psychotic, as most parents are that live in this sociopathic world
of commerce that we live in. It's, where everything is mercantile. Every relationship is transactional, right? And anyway, on that note, we'll get back to the dog. So there I was at this party of my friend who was basically the helper, but he married this woman that I was kind of hanging out with. She was an artist. And then I took one of my trips, and because, we were sweet on each other, but we weren't like, committed. And I'm a committed kind of guy. And she liked to play the field because she was real pretty and smart and talented. And that was, part of her thing. But I was her, go-to guy, and I wasn't involved in anybody. So whenever I'm with somebody, I'm like, and pretty much everyone likes that, that kind of attention, And so, anyway, I left, and I was, where did I go? It was one of those years I went to Sweden and traveled the world. And I did that 3 times. Once with my wife and 2 on my own. And my first wife, my training wife. So what happened was those 2 hooked up. Her daddy was pretty well off. He wanted her to, stop fooling around in New York, come back to Florida, either work for him or get married to some rich guy, blah, blah, blah. So to stick it to her daddy, she actually just married this guy. This guy really liked her and kept saying, oh, let's get married. And one day, I don't know where they were, but they got married and came back to Florida, and bingo, bango, there it was. And so he fit right into daddy's business plan. And so he just started just like John, but instead of like bemoaning that fact, he realized he got a great opportunity that he was not going to have any other time. He wasn't spoiled. He wasn't a rich kid, and now he's in the rich kid seat. And and he did a great job because we trained him to know all these different trades for all of us. So he made a really good contractor, and his father-in-law was really happy about it. And they were doing big jobs, in Fort Lauderdale. They were the guys who built the big tall buildings there. So, and they owned them. They didn't build them, sell them. They owned them. And then they started building, other buildings in Florida that they then sold as co-ops and condos, and still own them. And so by the time I bumped into him in Fort Lauderdale, I was in a restaurant one day, just, checking out the beach in Fort Lauderdale, and bingo, the guy walks in and looks at me. I look at him and I said, hey, oh, there you are. And so we sat and talked, and he said, oh man, you need to come and, guess who I married? I said, of course I know you married. And so, they had this amazing house in Boynton Beach, an amazing yacht, an amazing swimming, amazing everything. And she's doing the new age thing now in Florida, all the rage. And so, and I kind of got her into that, from my schoolings. She was around when I was being schooled. So anyway, it was like old times, and was great. And they had kids, and their kids loved me. And I took them out and did stuff and told them stories about their parents, and they giggled, and they thought that was fun. And so it was great, right? It was great times. And they had such a big house. They actually had a pool house they let me stay in, which was like, so before I got my own places in Stewart and the Keys, I had that place. Yes, they had issues and things, and I had to time it right, but I could stay there, until I couldn't, but usually, at least a week, if not a month, right? And, being in that palatial kind of, and I was experiencing their life. They had, servants, you name it, they had it, right? We went out on the big boat and went out to the Caribbean a couple of times. And I took them to Tortola, and, so it was good. It was fun by all. And I had known them so well and was tight with them so much that wasn't like, John, you're going to take something from me. No, they wanted to give me stuff, right? And so, and it was only when they kind of, would get on each other's nerves that I would leave, And anyway, when that year that I met them and was hanging out with them, New Year's came, and they had this big party in their big penthouse in one of their big tall buildings in Fort Lauderdale, and all these rich people came, and that's where I read everyone's palm and runes and da-da-da-da.
And in that period, those 2 years, those 2 different winters, I kind of through her got into the New Age crowd of that, Miami, Boynton Beach, neck of the woods, everything in between, Hollywood, you name it. And so I met a lot of people, and I met this guy, Will.i.am, who was really into it. He was like a mystic rock and roller, and his buddy, who is big time, didn't own, but he ran a big production company, like the big shows at the Super Bowl. He would do those, building the set and the this and the that and the lighting and the sound. And so, I worked at Phil Maurice. I worked for Bob Goddard and et al. And so he knew those. When he first started, he heard stories of all of that and of me. He had no idea who I was, but he heard the stories of me. And so that was a very interesting 2 years. Those 2 winters were really, and they were long winters. I mean, I would show up around Thanksgiving and stay until May, and then go back to my life in North Carolina, and then in Virginia, anyway, and Tennessee, right? And so, anyway, so. That was one of my things. I would go there. That's my parents. It was like a joke Christmas. It was like any other day. And that was, my parents, those 28 years were really great for me and for them when we were having fun. But when I wasn't there, it was like Shakespeare's Hamlet, tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. And the last 3 years of their life, they stopped having fun. It was just tomorrow and tomorrow, waiting for death, right? So anyway, Bella has the puppies, right, around this time in January. And my father said, "Where are you? You need to come on down." And I said, "I can't. I'm snowed in." And Bella had puppies. "Oh, puppies? You can't bring those." I said, "Well, then I'm not coming." "Oh, no, get rid of them." I said, "Get rid of them?" And I said, "What do you want me to throw them out the window as I'm going down Interstate 95? "Yeah." That's my dad. And I said, "Well, that's not going to happen." I said, "Mom," she put Mom on. And Mom, "Yes, dear?" I said, "Bella, oh, I love Bella." She had babies. "Puppies, puppies." And I hear my father in the background, "Oh, you told her puppies. Oh, my God." And my mom ruled "Oh, please bring the puppies." I said, "I'll be there when I can. I'm snowed in, and it's like here right now." So, a week later, which was good. They were, they needed a good 12 days of being in one place and getting their bearings on being in this planet of this as a puppy. And so we hit the road. We made it down to them. And my mom was overjoyed, and she made her life. She was like much, much, much happier with all those puppies rolling all over her. And so my dad grudgingly, I'm not taking care of these dogs. I said, "Don't worry about that." So anyway, that was before New Year's, and well, maybe it was. I have no idea, but he had a party. I don't know if it was New Year's, but it could have been. But anyway, I showed up, and the dogs were ready to go. They were ready for their new life, and I had, them in this basket, and they looked so cute in this big wicker basket. And I went to the party, was reading everybody, and people were playing with the dogs, and they're so cute. And this one rich guy, "I want this dog." He's holding the dog by its harness like a suitcase, and that's why I put them on him so they could be held like that and wouldn't hurt the dog. "And how much?" And I said, "What do you got in your wallet?" He pulls out, "I got $500. I said, "That's what I want." And he was, "Oh, okay," And I wanted these people to pay more than me giving them the dog, or $10, because once they got bored with the dog, they'd throw it away. Whereas if they paid $500 for it, they'd think twice, right? When next morning they had this nice puppy standing on his chest, looking at it sweet and nice and well behaved, and then they looked in the wallet and saw no money and realized, "Oh, I paid that for." So pretty much people, "Oh, I hear you're selling the dogs." I said, "Yep. What do you got in your wallet?" And he was the least. Some people had $1,000. So, I had 5 times, I walked out of there with a couple grand for the puppies, right? And with no muss, no fuss, just, having a really good time for about 2 months with them and then taking them to this party. And that's how they all got their lives. So I kept Bella and Homer, right? Because Homer was just such a loving, sweet, unbelievable dog. He was just, and Bella was a rocket scientist. She, had it all down, but we made such a team. So at that party that I gave the dogs to in 06, there was one guy sitting on the couch, and he was not amused by anything I did or what anybody else said. They had a band, they had amazing food and booze and everything else. Every party favor you ever wanted. It was like a really great party. And it was such a big penthouse place. I mean, if you sparked up with somebody, there were rooms you could go. I mean, it was, kind of, those two had lived in California a bit together, and they experienced that 1970s kind of, key party. You know what a key party is? So when couples come to a party and the wife picks the key. It's the keys to some other guy, somebody else's house, and they pick a key and they go home with that person. That's called the key party. So these couples were quote unquote used to be swingers back in the day. So this party had a good, once a year, and they didn't do it, but they sure gave everybody else a shot at doing it. And so it was kind of your super uber rich people, hedonist. John would call it sin party. And I'm there reading people's palms and giving them cold readings and, selling puppies, right? So selling love. And so my buddy, he says, hey, go talk to that guy. He's just down. Find out what's wrong with him. See if you can give him a hand. So I go over there, start talking to him. He's a lawyer, corporate lawyer. And he's just saying that it's up for him. She should just eat his gun. I said, what are you talking about? I said, are you married? Yeah, I've got a beautiful wife. Yeah, and got kids? Yeah, I got 3 kids, beautiful kids. So you want to eat your gun. And what would that do to them? He goes, I haven't thought of that. I'm just so depressed. I just want to die. And I said, what is wrong with you? I said, if you're in this party, you got some cash, you got some investments. You are not worrying about anything. As well, I have this deal that's really going south. I'm supposed to negotiate this thing. I'm the ombudsman of this corporate disagreement, and I've been at it for 6 months, and I have about $250,000. I said, $250,000. What's that? $250,000. I said, what's your net worth? Like $20 million? What's big? That's like, no, you don't understand. It's leveraged. So if I can't come through with this, get these people to sign, I'm going to lose my whole business. And then it just all collapses from there, and I just want to eat my gun. I said, you see no way to get these people to agree. No, they're just all assholes or blah, 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 blah. I said, okay. So how much time do you have? He said, well, I still have 2 months. I said, 2 months? That's a long time. A lot can happen in that. Well, I've been doing this now for 6 months. What's 2 months going to be? Well, you just met me. I am that X factor. Who are you? You read people's palms. You got puppies. You're wearing a Hawaiian shirt while everyone else is wearing a tuxedo. I don't understand. How can you help me? I said, well, you sound like you're pretty desperate. If you're going to eat your gun, don't you think you should just, why don't you just let me come visit you Monday, right? And you show me what it is. I'll tell you the strategy I planned to get you out of this mess. And what do you got to lose? Yeah, I won't charge you a nickel. But if I succeed, how much would you give me of that? How much are you expecting? If you succeed, what do you make? $600,000. I said, okay. How much would you pay me? And he said, 600. How about 1%? I said, how about 10%? He goes, well, we can negotiate. I said, right. So I'll come Monday. All I want you to do is have a car to come get me, like an LTD, and I'm just staying at their house. come and get me to drive to your office so I don't have to park my car anywhere, and take me out to lunch. And if I come early, take me to breakfast. We'll meet. Do you go out to breakfast? Yeah, every day. Have that guy take me to the breakfast spot, then we go to your office. We talk until lunchtime. You take me to lunch, and if we're going to continue to talk, you take me out to dinner, and then maybe a titty bar, and that's all you got to do. And he goes, okay. So he basically, that Monday shows up, the car shows up to their house. I go to that, breakfast, we talk, he shows me what the agreement is and how it is. And then, we go to lunch, and then we come have a long lunch. He gets a little buzzed. And we then, go back to his office, talk some more. And I said, okay, so who are your 3 best, apprentice lawyers / legal assistants? And so he said, well, I have 4 people who have been just working on this, know everything about it. Okay, good, 4. So why don't you, we're going to go out to dinner. Why don't we take them out to dinner, and we'll talk about this at dinner. And all those who want to go to the titty bar, he said, well, 2 of them are girls. I said, girls like titty bars too, And he said, they do? I said, well, look, who are the titties of the titty bar? Every time he asked me a question, it was like John. He only knew the linear word, what was written down in the black book. And that's what they call the law book, the book that supersedes all the judge has on his. That's not the Bible. That's the book of laws. The law, not so much the libraries of all the precedents, but this is the law, right? It's called the black book. So anyway, we do that. Everyone's, excited. They're kind of bummed by their boss wanting to eat his gun, and then they might lose their job. But I'm like being the person giving them the pep talk that, well, we can do this, no problem. And so I say, at dinner, so which of you 4 is more personable to the people in this disagreement? Who do you talk to? Do you get to know them? Do you have a feeling of their emotions, of what they're going through their life? Have they told you their story? Da, 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 da. And of course, the 2 women of the 6 people of this thing talk to the young men. The 4 guys talk to the 2 young girls, right? And so they do have a pretty good sense of who these people are emotionally. These guys are way smarter than their boss. They're not just about the black book. They're about realizing that because they're a corporate law firm, they're about negotiations. It's not like putting a black kid in jail. It's a lot more nuanced. Right, so they're understanding the nuance, and that's why they're on this deal, and that's why, they probably own the business in a few years. So anyway, I go, fine. So Tuesday, we're going to meet in the conference room, right? When's the next time these morons are supposed to show up? I said, Friday. Good, Tuesday. We got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to get ready. So Tuesday we show up, and I'm like moving furniture around, and I go, what are you doing? I said, well, this is like, when you go into court, right? Court, what is court? Court's like a tennis court. What is a tennis court? It's like a theater set, right? There are certain props, things are certain ways that gives authority and comfort to certain people and intimidates others, right? So these people are at home in this boardroom. Let's make it so they're not at home here. Let's make it really uncomfortable for them. They don't want to stay here, but they have been ordered by the judge to come here and negotiate with you guys, right? And they have to. If they don't, they give up their essence of what the deal is. And then they, so they all have to come here, right? So they're coming Friday. And you guys don't make them come here every day. You're just like once a week, or you've been at it 6 months, but in reality, they've only been here like 20 times, right? Well, we got 2 months. Let's make them come every freaking day. And you can set the time that they have to show up. They don't. You write it down in the legal protocol of it that they have to sign next to, and then it goes in front of the judge. And then the judge goes, they really are scumbags. They don't want to, they're out of the deal, right? So that's what this, and I had the black book. That's what this black book says, right? So what we're going to do, we're going to have your people take this big mahogany table out and take all those comfy king-like leather chairs out. Keep 3 of them, 4 of them here, 5 of them here, right? And we're going to get a small mahogany table and put it at this thing. I'm going to have the biggest chair that's going to be in front, right? And you guys are going to be on either side of me in your other kingly chairs. And next to me, I'm out front, there's going to be this amazing like kitchenette kind of rolly thing that has a cappuccino machine on it. And it's going to freshly have the best bear claws, bagels, salmon, schmear, everything that any rich person would want to have as a little delicacy while they're having a meeting, right? And we're going to, when we're at the titty bar, we're going to talk to titty girls, and we're going to find 2 titty girls that are like going to, that they have the job as titty girl, not because they're, an addict or something, but they're going to law school. We'll find 2, right? We hire them. They come in their most tittiest of titty girl outfits, like string, bikini, just a piece of, floss going up their crack. And they're going to be on either side of me, and my dogs are going to be on either side of them. And they're just going to be like peeling grapes and putting it in my mouth. Right? And whenever you need a cup of cappuccino, they will make you, if you need a schmear, you will get it. Right? But I will get the peeled grapes in my mouth, right? And these people, we're going to go on a little shopping tour, and we're going to go to the Goodwill and all the thrift shops, and we're going to find the crappiest folding chairs we can find. The ones that are rusty, that have, the padding that once was there is like torn and ripped. And so when you sit on it, it's like sitting on a razor blade. And they will not have the mahogany table. They will have a falling apart TV dinner table, right? And they do not get any of this food, right? We're going to hire a guy who's like a security guy, who's wearing a uniform, and he's guarding the cappuccino machine and the titty girls and all of us from them, right? And he holds the key, and he has a gun. And then we're going to put, those like little ball video cameras that are at the supermarket and the 7-Eleven that are keeping an eye on everyone so they don't steal shit. We will put one in the ceiling above each of these people's chairs. And we're going to like screw that really rickety folding chair into the floor so they can't move it around. They have to sit right there, right? And we're going to screw that really crappy TV dinner table to the floor. They have to lean or get up if they get anything there. And we're going to have 1 jug of water that every morning, one of you are going to go out to wherever there is a mud puddle and fill it up with muddy water. And we're going to put it on one of those, TV dinner tray tables. And we're going to go to the Dollar Tree and buy the shittiest, cheapest plastic cups. That when they put the water in and they grab the side, the 2 sides will split and the water will go all over them. So they won't be able to ever drink that crappy water. And that's why we can put the crappy water in there. That's probably full of insecticides and DDT and you name it. It'll smell bad, but they can't drink it because as soon as they touch it, the time and it'll go all over them. And that's what we'll do. And that video camera will be focused right on them all the time. I will have a table over here that has a laptop that I can touch it. And the 6 people that are in this deal, the screen will be cut up in 6 people and 2 shots to get the big picture. And I can just hit either one of those and we're going to have a gigantic TV screen. And I will if I hit that guy's picture, it will say either put it up on the big screen or record it or do both, right? And so, we do it. We train. Hey, bud,
Alright.
how you doing?
Why didn't you put in the video description and why don't you put in words that actually have a chance to fucking get big on Google so you can pay your fucking bills at it instead of typing any random shit and talking all the time?
Because that's what the audience seems to like.
Well, all your subscribers are from me. They're all directly from my channel. You don't have shit on a Google search.
Well, I don't know how to do it, and you don't really
Well,
help
get
me.
to work at it if you want to pay your fucking bills instead of mooching off of me. I can't wait till you leave, and I can't do shit about it because I don't want to throw you out in the cold. I have to pay for your fucking bills or some shit.
You
when I'm
don't.
barely getting by,
John,
this sucks.
John, all the food that you eat down here, I purchased.
I'm sorry. I can't.
All the food I make for you, everything I do for you is for your. I am here to serve you,
It's so ridiculous.
I'm
I
not
can't
here
wait till
because-
you leave.
John. If
I
I
can't
wanted
wait
to be,
till warm weather till you're fucking out of here, and I don't have to have some person in here that costs money that I spent or it doesn't cost money.
no, it
Whatever
doesn't
the
cost
fuck-
money because all the money
Why-
that you spent on food, you
Why
bought
would I want
upstairs and
someone
you ate.
in my house unless it's my wife and kids?
Well, why
The
don't you
fuck
get
would I
them?
give a fuck about anyone else ever being here unless I'm having to give you a handout for helping you?
John, let us
So
read.
some fear-driven Republican
Let
trying to
us
force me to
read.
their same stupid ass
Let
bullshit
us-
handout shit.
Let us read what you texted me over the years. Let us just read that, okay? We'll go there.
Why don't you take the time to sit down and spell properly every title of your video? Put some video description in so you get the. You
I
get
am
the
really
words to show
sorry.
in the
I was
Google
so
search.
distraught that I had to hurt you.
I didn't say that's a lie.
And right here, John, this is.
I didn't say
You
that.
said it right there. I
Show it to
am
the
really
screen.
sorry. I was so distraught that I had to hurt you.
That I was so distraught that I had hurt you in any way when I thought I helped your health.
But you didn't. By screaming at me, you basically raised my blood pressure and really
You don't
did.
even read the words properly.
I read them.
How are you going to make money? Now that your parents are dead, how do you make money? Why should I have to pay for you?
What stupid things I said angry at Tom and all
And now
white
you're
people
stuck here.
like
I can't
myself.
kick you out. I can't kick you out, and you're in my house.
You invited me here, John. You begged me to come. I'll read that one. Okay, I will give you 200 to get tons and tons of kombucha. Let's see.
And you got
What
like
it-
10 of them.
Well, because that's all there were left.
For tw-
And that cost me $20. What
You
an
spent
awful
20
life. I hate it here. No desire to waste that kind of money because it sucks. Let's see. Let's go to. Al, I will give you literally $300 if you can get $140 worth of GT kombucha. Let's see. What else?
I felt like having that for one time. I wanted to enjoy GT's kombucha when those dumb fucking bastards didn't fucking attack me with trying to pretend that it was bad for me because they don't believe in it because they're dumb as shit. And I want to eat and drink the foods that I fucking enjoy, like real organic food.
Well, good. I mean, that is real organic food, John. That's all
it's not.
vegetables. It's
They're
all
sprayed with
vegetables.
chemicals.
No,
You had
no.
to wash it off because it was sprayed with chemicals.
It's vegetables from the supermarket. You know, the real organic. It says organic chemicals.
It's still pretty healthy.
Yeah, no
It's
shit.
still healthy.
Yes. Rice,
I'm
beans.
sorry. I don't
onions.
want to argue, but why?
Well, you're the one who came down here and started screaming at me.
I am at one of the heaviest fucking weights I've been.
If you want any more money today,
And
I
I
want
like to be
help.
drinking caffeine and fasting. Like actual black coffee or water and fasting.
Well, just-
and working out a bunch.
You don't want to drink black coffee, John. Just drink water. Just drink water. If you just drink water and eat that,
Instead, it's like
then don't
be
eat any of
healthy
this.
and you get the
Don't
food
eat any of
calories.
this. Don't eat any of this. Don't eat it. You don't have to eat it.
I've
I
had to
don't
be
force you
heavier
to eat it.
to be kind to these people in my life who are older. When I was younger, I never liked getting this heavy because it made it so I couldn't work out as much and my face didn't look as good and I didn't feel as happy about myself. And now I've been at this constant fucking heavy weight for like since
A long time.
February. Since February
Last
last
February.
year.
Yes.
And I lost 24 pounds by fasting. You don't gain the weight back when you fast. Sometimes that's how people lose weight.
So
Why would you think that just because of that theory, I've heard that a million times from 10 years ago, 15 years, 20, 30 years ago, the 90s is when they thought, oh, if you lose weight really fast, then you'll gain it back. That's not always true. There are people who lose weight a bunch and then they keep working out and they keep getting better, and it's possible to get in better shape. Just because all my fucking peers now are supposed to be 78 years old or 64 or 58.
John,
Oh,
you're
Tim's
not.
58. You can kind of be his peer. Because I looked at young women on the internet. Why the fuck do I have to have all these peers who are like 68 years old or 52 or whatever the fuck it is? Or you're pretending I'm 52. Might as well be. Who cares? It sucks.
John, in the Bible, it says there is a time for every season. You can't always be 22.
I don't
Our
want to
lives.
be 22. When I was younger, I thought it was cool to act like I was younger.
Okay, here we go.
I
You
know
said,
what the Bible
will
says.
you be like my therapist to me? My mom says to talk to a therapist. Well, I'm not a therapist, but I'm your friend and you can talk to me, and that's what you're doing right now. Please come. I want you here. Let's see what else you said. Let's see. Pretty much, I have saved everything John ever sent me. It's all in the cloud. And all the things I said.
I feel
Like I
they
said
try to
this too. I
destroy
said,
my videos.
This is your life. You
I feel
are
like
a
they try to
decider.
destroy my videos. There may be somebody watching your channel now who wants to destroy
No one
my
wants it.
videos and your videos.
No.
But then they want to pressure me into being like them to try to
No.
pretend that
No.
I would do my meanness to you that they fucking did to me so relentlessly that I never did anything mean back to any of them. And they want me to try to be like their Republican ass fucking selves because I can't figure out what the fuck else it would stand for other than shit that I
John,
don't like.
I wrote to you.
But that's not true because they're liberal. They're liberal. I'm sorry. I don't know. I can't be against Republicans because I'm supposed to be kind to them when I go out into the South. Hi, everyone. I'm Jen. I'm putting my cowboy hat and cowboy boots on. Hi.
Maybe we can really meet women if we take a road trip. I don't want to fornicate, though. I'd like to marry someone. I was sad
What?
because I love Danica and
What
Ken-
is that? Let me see what it says.
Right there, right there. Maybe we can really meet women. Don't want to fornicate, though.
I don't want to fornicate.
I said that. I said that. I don't want to fornicate. I like to
I
marry.
said that. You didn't say
I know.
that.
That's what I said. That you said it.
You think I give a fuck about the North and the South? Fuck that. I should have been a famous fucking person in Los Angeles. I could go there now, but I'm having to do God's
No,
work.
you don't. You
and
don't.
be
You
in the
can go
North
to
and the South.
California, John. Go.
You
Go
think
to
that I
Cal-
want to talk like a fucking Yankee?
Go to California. Go.
I don't give a fuck about either of those bullshit ass, fucking stupid ass, random things. Nothing to do with the film industry.
So go to the film
Why did
industry.
Bam Margera stay
Why
with
are
his
you
family?
here? Why
So
are
he
you
can
here?
suffer
Why
and be
did
a
you
safe
stay 3
person.
years old by yourself here? You could have gone to California at any time. Right now, you can really go.
Why would I go to California when my kids were taken away to the most Republican ass, stupid ass fucking place that I've ever would want to go to?
John, you could go to California and Rowan could come with you and you'd have a great time.
No, babble, boom, my man.
What?
I don't know what to say.
Yep. I don't know either. I'm just here to serve you, John. I'm just here to help. I'm just here because I don't want you to be unhappy, and I've watched you be unhappy for so
You
many
want me
years.
to quit all caffeine?
Yeah.
So that's what you've been trying to do is get me to quit all caffeine, and then you try to give me food and things that like would be like
Good for you.
melatonin,
Good
like
for you.
to-
Good for you.
to take
Good
it
for you.
easy.
Good for you. Yes.
Yeah.
I gave you that tea that's, chamomile. That
But
makes,
my parents are really into caffeine. They pretend that it has something to do with sex when I'm going to somebody else. Because all they fucking understand.
John, you don't have to do what your parents think. And I'm pretty sure they don't think that caffeine has something to do with sex. They drink
How
caffeine.
can I rationalize what these thoughts are
You don't.
about
You stop thinking them.
a
You don't.
cat slowly approaching me from
Right.
right here?
Right.
This cat wants to rub up against somebody with somebody in another thought of something about a black person and the wrong bad smells they're supposed to associate with a black person and pretend it's a black person, like it's either pretending it's me or they
Those
want me
thoughts
to be
are
the big champion
erroneous
for their
thoughts.
cause and blame
Don't
all the
let them-
minorities till they did that shit to fucking Hitler
Don't.
and he incinerated thousands of fucking people because that shit's not gonna happen to me. So I don't give a fuck what that bullshit is of a thought of saying the word thought that sounds like a New York person. Like I give a fuck.
Why do
Like
you?
I give a fuck.
Why do you
Is that
let?
what Hollywood's about?
No, I don't
Talking
know.
like a thought?
I don't know.
Who gives a shit?
I don't know. But all I know is you don't have to get this upset over nothing. Because you don't give a shit. You just said you don't give a shit about it, so why get
And it
upset
sounded
about it?
like the devil with all those 5 voices that he talks in. Shit. Like
What
5
5
evil
voices?
voices.
What
When I
five?
said who gives a shit?
What's a?
I'm trying to rationalize these thoughts going through my mind.
Don't let them in.
And why are you filming a video anyway?
I was doing a live chat. You
It
walked.
gets so little views
you-
anyway. It's like you're gonna have to get 10,000 times that, or it's not gonna make shit of money. Or
I'm not doing it.
hunt 4,000 times.
I'm not doing it for the money, John. I'm doing it for.
that.
I'm doing it. For
Why?
the, I'm doing it for the about 1,000
Then
people who watch
How are you
this.
gonna pay your bills? How are,
I get a Social Security check that does fine.
you're having to stay here at my house for free?
No.
And I have to move this out of the way. So
I
there's-
came here because you invited me. I came here because you begged me. I came here because I wanted to do my best to help you. And the snow, God has put me here so I can, because John, if I wanted to be warm, I could go to Florida. I have friends in Florida where it's warm, but I came here for you. I chose to be here to help you, not because I had to stay here. Last 2 winters I spent in the deep green. I could have done it again. I came here because I saw that you've been here all by yourself for 3 years, and that is not good, not healthy.
Why don't you just get a wood burning fucking stove?
I have
You
heat.
can make a wood burning stove for
I-
$120
I
or
have
$80.
heat. That's not the.
At the
John,
deep green,
you are not-
firewood.
See, first of all, you never listen. I mean, you do. You're like a tape
You can
recorder.
make a fucking wood burning stove. You
John,
can install
John,
one for
I
40
have-
bucks, 80 bucks,
John,
$120.
John,
How could you not? have
John, I've already lived in the deep green 2 winters. Not a problem.
that? Oh,
I
sorry.
can do it again.
It
two,
sucked.
I could
It
go
was
to.
traumatic.
No, it
It
wasn't.
sucked.
It
You
wasn't.
had to be in the
Not.
cold.
It wasn't. It was fine.
You had to put on winter jackets
Yes, and it was
and
fine.
be in the
It
cold.
was fine. I came here because of you. I came here because you're my friend. I came here to help you, try to help you, do my best to help you navigate yourself into a better life.
This fur ball wants to rub up against somebody's dick and make him feel good to a dick. I'm 30 outside. Yay! I put him outside.
Yeah, through the air. He
I'm
was.
not
He
trying to
was.
sound like-
He flew across
I'm not
the
trying to
sky.
sound like Bam Margera. Where the fuck does Bam Margera have to do? Any of those fucking people have to do with shit.
Who's Van?
He's in fucking Westchester.
Who's Van Margera?
Like for
Who-
some reason,
who is-
because I put a video on my channel
Right?
of those people
Who's
Like,
those people?
a week ago.
Who's those people?
Those people who did that the Bam Margera people and his parents
Who are they?
and all those some people from Viva La Bam that I got some of the actors in one of my videos that I happened to put online. That was a small thing that I did 40 other videos that have nothing to do with that. So why would I be talking right now like it sounds like Bam Margera, who is this person who
does not have God and Jesus as much as he should, and he's in the darkest of God's truth. And if he would find God and Jesus, he'd be way better off. And they probably would have let him in Jackass, and they didn't even let him in Jackass. But I happened to put up a video with these other people that were in his video that I thought, well, it's not him, because I was afraid of him because of how much he was into the occult or something. He made a symbol on it that looked like a pentagram and his heartogram thing, and it was a little scary to me. So I didn't want to do it because so I put I'll probably take that video down. It's 120 views. You know what that means? 5 cents. 5 fucking cents. Who gives a fuck about it? Almost. It's kept our channels going.
I don't get any of that money. And I don't care to get any of that money.
To work at the business side, there's a chance to do it.
It's not something, no.
You don't want to do any business side of anything?
No, I do this to serve God's love. That's why I do this. I don't do it to make money. I do it because it affects, in a positive way, just one person. That's a good thing. I affect many people, many people, in a good way. You heard my friend Lana talk to you on the stairs, right?
I don't know what to say about her.
Right? But she's a good person. And this is a good time to say, hey, if you want to get a hold of me, just go to thedudawake42@gmail.com, and how about sending me some money? So when the snow does melt, I'll be able to get out of here. But I'm not going anywhere until I've done my best, right? And God, put me here. I have one thing I have to do in mid-February. And hopefully, God, you're listening, you can get rid of the snow by early February and keep it away until next year. I mean, this is enough snow. We had enough snow, So let's see what you're saying here. Jealous. Aging again. Hell, got a happy again soon. Well, it's like weather in Florida. Stay in one place long enough and it'll change. Cabin fever. Yeah, I would say so. But it's not, because John acts this way. I mean, he's stayed here for 3 years, even in sunny days. I've been here 2 weeks before it snowed, and just love these guys. I would think, come on, Mr. Platform, Netflix or what's his name, Jeffy Bezos platform. This would beat any, Housewives of New Jersey. This would beat any reality show, unbelievably, just right. And I do own the rights to the to the YouTube things here, right? Or I could take this and turn it into an I Love Lucy show where we had actors playing John and me, right? So any of it, it's all good. Bipolar, but still good to hear Johnny laugh. Yes. Except when he cackles sometimes, it's a little. And see, John is more than bipolar. I mean, it's like I said, Anthony calls him the people's saint of truth, which it is. I mean, right there. John's little, whatever you call that, torrid or right, a stream of consciousness. Now, I do stream of consciousness here. And John takes it just that much. We're like the Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin of the 21st century, sprinkle a little George Jetson in there. And the interesting thing about this is that John and I switch back. I'm not just Dean Martin, he's Jerry Lewis. We kind of go back and forth. Because John sometimes is, Dean Martin, but he should not drink coffee. He knows it. He does it anyway. I mean, that's exactly what, and he,
I eat what I make here. You see me make it, right? And it's basically beans, rice, vegetables. Pretty much it, right? And sometimes, oh, I want chicken. Beans, rice, vegetables, chicken. Then the chicken started, oh, we can't eat chicken, right? It's just like, oh, here he comes again. And so,
You can be a single shirt, please.
it's going to be another character.
You can be a single Shirley's, but I can't. I have real children.
Well, let's go.
I
see
can't
them.
be Shirley's.
Let's
Shirley's.
Let's go see them. Let's get in your mom's car that was up here and drive it to Texas, or get on an airplane. and
Why
go-
would you say get in your mom's car and drive to Texas when you saw me holding a beer and another beer?
Give me one of them.
No,
I can't have a beer.
I already had caffeine. Guess what? What are your thoughts on coffee?
My thoughts is that it's a stimulant, and some people are more sensitive to it than others. And
How
that
do
you
you
should.
think it affects me?
Well, I think it doesn't affect you well. I think it affects you. It puts you in a spin, and that's why all these thoughts come into your mind. The thoughts come into your mind because the coffee opens the doorway.
What do you mean a spin? Like hurt my body and jumble me up and do some shit to me and break all my bones and I'm fucked up?
A good spin a good thing is when you were a kid in the playground. Didn't they have one of those things you get on and run around and jump on and you go around and round and round, and then you slow down and you get off and you couldn't even walk straight? You never had one of those? You never did
No.
that? Or if you,
Yeah.
the other thing is you stand behind a chair and you go around the chair, around until you.
So is that what old people are? Older people, 58, wherever they're, however old they are, is that what they're all trying to fucking do to me? Is take me, who they thought was lifting weights, is athlete, running around doing all this stuff, and then take me, shake the fuck out of me, and trying to throw me into the wall.
Why?
Oh, look at him.
Why would
Now you're young.
Why would anyone do that? It doesn't make sense for any person who doesn't even know you to want to do that. No. And the only person who can really do that to you is yourself. The only person that can hurt ourselves is ourselves. So nobody who's 58 is all the millions of
Who's a
people.
fag now? I'm the fag. Yeah, you're in here. I'm the fag.
So John, I can't have one of those beers.
Come on, Steve. This is how he leads his own asshole. His house, his asshole. He's a fag. Somebody else, Steve, not Steve kicked your ass. I mean, he thought he did. I'm making a joke about myself. I'm not gay. I don't give a fuck about my own ass. Never been gay on my own ass. Never even thought of wanting to do that to my own ass. I don't like it. There's fucking hair on it. Why the fuck would I think that that's something good to feel good to? A woman's pussy that doesn't have any fucking hair on it, doesn't have any hair on it, looks like a girl. That's what I like with my wife or somebody like that, but I'm not going to say if she has hair or not. That's a secret because I don't want anyone thinking about her. Or whoever my wife's supposed to be. So the fuck would I like a man's ass on it? I think it's disgusting.
See, this is better than I Love Lucy. It really is better than I Love Lucy.
I don't like that. I don't try to feel like I'm young. I'm like there's Chinese men who have no hair on their ass and they feel good. They like to show their asshole and legs. for Republicans. it's I mean, like, why do they try to act? Because they feel like they want to feel like they're a child, but they take it so it's like they want to have a small
Come
body.
on, John, give me a beer.
They wanna
You're
have-
holding two of them. It's like killing me that I can't have a beer. I just want a beer.
In China, they have
I
small,
need a beer.
The men have small bodies and they have like no hair on their
I
bodies.
need this.
Okay,
To you, my brother.
Cheers.
It doesn't matter if you have hair or not on a body. I'm sorry.
I haven't drank any of it yet.
Oh.
And I still started feeling better.
Right.
This is my way of like,
Yeah, you're
I
letting go.
drank caffeine. See, that was a problem today. I drank caffeine.
Right. I gave you this nice tea. Did you drink
Yeah,
that?
good old days. Good old days in the, around here where friends drank beer
Yeah,
in
good.
the snow.
Yeah. Drink beer in the
And
snow.
How it was when we were really young.
Yep.
Did things cool.
Yep.
But, you know, not to my own ass.
Yep.
You know, cool, getting gay, taking a shit inside of someone's body. And
You think psychotherapy help? I'm not a psychotherapist. I'm a friend.
the anxieties and shit that goes with it. Cause you ain't allowed to do shit of it now. And if you don't like this, it sounds like a big not fat, but fucking wrestler talking like this in the devil's five voices at one time, coming from the devil shit.
Where does the devil get
Praise
praise?
Jesus.
Why does the devil have? Why doesn't the devil have 20 voices? Why does he only have 5? What is it with the devil only having 5 voices? Do you guys know why the devil only has 5? I would think he'd have infinity voices, right? A voice for every person, right? Who knows? I don't know. I don't know anything. Don't believe a word I say. Just watch the video.
Praise Jesus.
Praise Jesus! Praise Jesus! Praise Jesus! Praise Jesus! Kind of like
The
that.
wrestler.
Praise Jesus! Kind of like that.
Maybe that'll make a bunch of views somehow. I don't know. You've been doing some of the tag words and stuff. Not tag words. Those
Okay.
are not as important. The description, the words you write in the title description.
So
Owl Bob,
when I put
you got Owl Bob.
right,
So
What?
that can.
but
We've been promoting
what-
that, so that'll go to your channel when somebody looks up Owl Bob. Your videos show up about the same as mine,
Yeah,
because Owl Bob is your name of your channel.
and
So you got the
and you
title
have Al
right,
Bob. You have Al
whatever
Bob
the-
attached to your channel too, right? Like when Al Bob comes up, it shows your channel, right?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, I'm just a caveman. I don't know your modern technology. I just push the button.
But you got some of the tag words. You got but it's not tag words. Those are not as important these days.
Right.
Those are words that you type in to show up in the search at the bottom of the video description. The words that you write in the video description, those are important for a search.
So I
But
put
It's
all the
good to
time
have a
I put in
business plan
there.
for every.
Everything in that video, I constantly always use love is all there is. That's what I put. Love is all there is. So if people were to, Google love, should maybe show up there, right? If that's all there is, Yep. Praise Jesus. Yep.
I had one. I'm almost about to have one beer. I started drinking it. It's a light beer. It's only 95 calories. I couldn't take it anymore because I was like annoyed or whatever the fuck it is. I don't even know. A ghost flying through my body. It's already dead. Whatever the shit came from. It's
Just
a
let it
dead
go.
Ghost coming through.
Let it go.
Of somebody's fault trying to be mean, and they made a ghost fly up my asshole into my body.
Just let it go.
So it
Just let
didn't
it
hurt
go.
me. It's a ghost.
Just let it
Shit,
go.
didn't hurt my asshole.
Just let it
See,
go.
that's wrong. I ain't supposed to feel anything on that.
Just-
I ain't a homophobe. I ain't feeling on my asshole.
We've been doing this 2 hours, 33 minutes.
I ain't a fear-driven homophobe. Oh, I gotta apologize. I said the wrong things upstairs.
My second wife, she would never, when people, oh, I'm sorry, she said, it's not good enough. And why she loved me and why we were together for almost 10 years was that I always thought of her first. I always took care of her needs because making her happy made me happy. Number one thing, making her happy made me happy. And all the different relationships I've ever had in my life were based on what made me happy was me making others happy. And that's why I'm here. I'm trying to help John get into a state where he can find his way through, right? Where he can be all he can be that person that he truly is. He is a great guy, and right there, that little monologue there showed this sweet, kind, really generous person to this basically demon, right? And he's let that in, and no matter what I try to help him, let loose that. And, in psychotherapy, there's what I do, talk to people, and then there's drugs. No, I don't do that, right? I don't, the closest thing to a drug, well, the biggest drug he takes is caffeine, and it's not everyone can do a drug, like me. When when my obesity and diabetes and charcoal legs and aplastic anemia and et al., because they're all like a lifestyle kind of thing, I had to change my lifestyle. So I couldn't, eat all that stuff, couldn't do all that stuff. Now I can have one cookie, I can have a little piece of chocolate, like, couple a week. I can have 4 cookies a week. Not going to hurt me, right? But it is amazing that if I eat more than that, my blood sugar goes up about 10, 15%. If I'm really good about my diet, I basically, my blood sugar is between, about 110 is where it kind of is. But sometimes it's 99, sometimes it's 120. That's the range. 110 is where it's its happiest medium point. But if I eat a little too much, sugar, it'll go up, by 10, 15%, And sometimes if I, last few days, I've been eating more than one little chunk of chocolate, but I don't buy a ton of it. He buys a ton of stuff. And I haven't really. And the other thing is, like, where is it? Oh, it's gone. Is it gone? Yes. It's like I had some cereal, and I kind of hid it because the last box of cereal, John just came down and ate the whole thing. Didn't leave, I would, if I would eat at someone's house, I would not eat the whole thing. Like I bought a couple of loaves of Italian bread. He ate them all, right? A thing of cereal, ate them all, right? He gave me one bag of chocolate popcorn, and I didn't eat it at all because I was waiting for the right time. And I knew if I ate that, maybe I'd want more of that. But so I didn't eat it, right? So it doesn't seem to be here, along with the cereal. So, but I always have this for John and me. I went and got a rice cooker, so it would cook rice perfectly. And, so I have that nice, very tasty rice, right? Flavored rice. And I always have a nice bean soup, right? Very nice bean soup with vegetables. And I have beans and rice over here. And they're very tasty, you see him eat them. Oh, yeah, this is great. Right? And all he has to do is put them in one of these. I got these because when I only had 2 bowls, he would always take them up. I got no bowl, so I got a pack of this. All he has to do is put it in this and put it in the microwave, and bingo bango, he has a very nice meal. He never does that. Never. I leave it there. I eat it too. And, I have no idea what he's got up there. He spent $700 on food, but not on it. I mean, all the food I make here, I went and spent $100 on it. So, and it's irrelevant. I think, how do you pay your bills? Well, how I pay my bills, I don't spend money. I don't order things online. I don't have, $700 worth of kombucha delivered by the supermarket up here. So, and like I said, this is my, I'm tying all the loose ends up here, and I'm moving forth. Oh, it's 1:21. Anyway, so let's see what you guys are saying. Anthony Bug. One flew over the cuckoo's nest. Yep. Live. So I assume Anthony Bug is different from the other Anthony. I mean, there's like 4 fishes here. Jamie. Praise Jesus. Yep. Mm-hmm. I don't get to him. He needs hospital. Yes, but the problem is, so I've been, and I sold this place in 2015 to John, right? So, what's that, like 8 years, something like that? Well, I was a shrink. I know a lot of really good shrinks, and couldn't get them there. Yeah, I got one guy was interested. He kind of watched this and said, well, that'd be interesting. He says, if you think this is interesting, I might. And so he's really good. I mean, he's really good with trauma and every kind of, he's really good. And John, I got him to the door. He wouldn't go to the door, right? So, as my mom says, you can drag a horse to water. Now his parents have, got him to go see people. And, that first time he went down there and he said, and I was really good to Jesus and blah, blah, and stood up for black people. No, what happened was he drove without sleep for 36 hours and drank like 18 gallons of coffee and got pulled over in Mississippi, and they put him in, the rubber room, and basically they let him go after a week because, like I said, he's not nuts. He's not medically nuts. He's neurotic and he's annoying, and they just couldn't stand him anymore. And they put him on a bus. They wouldn't let him have his car. They put him on his bus back to Roanoke, and that kind of straightened his act out a little bit, but not much. And so, until you can't, someone who's going down this road, they really can't. It's like AA. You got to hit bottom. And his parents kind of, that's why I left when he threw me out 3 years ago. And it was, I drove 200 miles to be here. Yes, I went to other places. Yes, I had other places to be. I always do. I have like many, I'm not just, plan A, plan B, C, D, all the way up to F, G, H, I, K. So I had plenty of, it's like, I didn't need to come here to be warm. And it's not warm. It's freaking cold in here. I could have stayed in a deep green and be as warm as this. But I came to not just, help John, but there are about 20 other people in the city and organizations and things that I had been involved in for a good 20 years. And, from my skill set, I used to get paid a lot of money to help people move forward in the things they wanted to do. All these different groups, I call them the usual suspects, they quote unquote people who call themselves progressives or liberals. And now I can't even use that term. They've so defiled it that, so I'm just me. I no longer have a little stereotypical quote unquote what I am. I'm just me. And I do my best. And that's really, that is a measure of me. I do my best. And why do I do the show? I don't do this for fame or money. Forget about that. I do it because you guys seem to come here and come together in a community. And as the good book says, with more than two come together in my name, not my name, but Jesus, God, loves co-creation. That's what we're here for, right? We're all here for that, right? And so we're making it stronger. You can see the world is fucking changing for the better. Yes, it's getting crazier, and that's only because the powers that be, the hidden hand, is desperate. And I mean, they are so desperate, they will nuke this planet to, not let it fall into the hands of love's co-creation. But they've tried to do that a number of times, over 60 times in the last 50 years, and it didn't seem to work. I mean, they pushed the button. I mean, Obama pushed the button, right? And the whole system didn't work. The whole system. He tried to isolate certain things that he thought because he didn't need to launch, 50,000 nuclear missiles. He was going to launch like 8 on America, not other countries. And he told everybody else, hey, we're not shooting it at you guys. We're shooting it at ourselves. And it didn't work. So that gives me a lot of, we're moving in the right direction. That's why I'm doing this show. I'm moving in the right direction. I had no idea about any of this until John started putting me on his channel, and 70, 80,000 people were coming to his channel to watch me and telling him to shut the fuck up and just let me talk. So I kind of, played around with my phone. Oh, look, I now have a YouTube channel, right? And I don't do all the other stuff that he's talking about because it, A, doesn't interest me, B, don't know how to do it, C, don't want to waste my time learning. I mean, I had to learn how to go into that machine when the trolls showed up, and because I didn't know what I was doing, I had a little interlude, but that was good. It made me step up. But I'm stepping to a place. This is where I'm at. Here to serve you guys. John had to work to make money. I suspect he'd balance out. Exactly. His parents enable him this attitude, and it's straight from them. Long walks would help. Exactly. And he's got the most beautiful, and I had this most amazing path. That's the most sacred thing imaginable. It's a 1/4-mile loop that you go up a hill. It's like having a Stairmaster and then a treadmill, and then, it's like amazing. Does he walk on it? No. The only time he walked on it was earlier, and when he would carry 200 pounds and run up it, not walk up it and let the beauty and energy of that space, right? What keeps me relatively stable, that is right there. And I walked, my dog found it. I unearthed it. I did my little archaeological diggy thing and found, sacred sites and arrowheads and pots and things that showed that, oh, this was a kitchen. And, and it's in my Akashic record, into my sacred site, and it's like in my heart. So this place, even when I'm not here, it's in my heart because I unearthed all this beauty of what it is and used it in a respectful way. And it is very appreciative of that. And now, it snowed up here. So, I, could be stuck here with John for a week or two. That pushes him to a point that maybe he can break through. And he is, because he used to not say he was sorry, But, if I could, I'd throw you out right now, right? And then, oh, I'm sorry. And like I said, my second wife always said, saying you're sorry is worthless. You're a piece of shit if you say you're sorry. Just don't do it again. First time, oops, sorry. You didn't know. Now, and that's what scared the crap out of people. Everyone was scared of her. Gorgeous, unbelievable fashion plate lady, and she's like 5'8" or so, and so she wasn't, supermodel tall, and but we made quite the. And whenever we went out, she had outfits for me to wear. I mean, better than any movie star. I mean, handmade. She had 60 a seamstress working in her factory, so she would cut up something, and she knew she had measured every square inch of me, and she would dress me up really fine whenever we went out. and we went out to a lot of stuff. She had all these fashion events to go to, and I had all these other artistic, cultural, political entities that I was part of, and showing up with her on my arm was like, whoa. And people would always go, how are those two? What are they doing together, right? Oh. Yes. And that's why a number of us, in the early O's, we built 9 gardens in the city of Roanoke, right? And Mark Powell was Roanoke Garden Association, I guess that's what it's called. Nonprofit. He was a really good administrator, raised money. We did 9 really good gardens, and we went in, we cleared it, we got the property from the city, we did everything, made it beautiful, made it nice, got, educated everyone on how to grow their own food. And once we stopped doing it, there's only 2 gardens still working. And both of them in neighborhoods where they're foreigners, people that came from, Eastern Europe and the Middle East and Africa that live in those neighborhoods, and they're into gardening, so they do it. But all the other people who were like stone cold Roanokers, if we weren't doing it for them, and see, it's not just John and his family, it's this element of the Roanoke energy here, right? So that is why I'm here, is to tie up all my loose ends, and because John is not the only person I've spent energy on trying to help to get better, right? There are other individuals that I took part in. Some of them did better than others, but others, and virtually all the other organizations that, were art organizations, political organizations, environmental organizations, like they put a big oil pipeline, gas pipeline through this neck of the woods. It's called Mountain Valley Pipeline, right? And, I've been involved in stopping, nuclear power plant in Long Island, right? And we didn't have half the kind of money or support in the beginning that these guys did. And they tied themselves up in trees and did shit like that. But they didn't do the stuff that actually matters. And what is that? That is to educate the public around where this pipeline was going through and what it would mean to them. They didn't do that because they were superior to everyone else. Look, we're in a tree. We went to this, in prestigious, rich people's, college. We went to Hollins. We went to Roanoke College. We went to, Radford. We went to, Warren Wilson. We went to all these kind of schools that are that, right? Not to say those schools aren't good. They're very good. I have friends who teach and administer all those, and they have great programs and they do great work and they educate a lot of great kids, but a good portion of the folk just go there. It's like the people who go to schools like the state school in Boulder, right? Well, why is the state school in Boulder, Colorado, have 80% out-of-state people, where if you're in state, it will cost you about $3,000 to go to that college. If you're out of state, it costs you about $60,000, right? Why do those kids go there? Their parents pay that $60,000. Hey, gets those kids out of their mom and dad's house. They can afford it, gets them out. Kids, all they do is ski and, canoe and hike, and which are all great things, but they're not going there for the scholastic press. And pretty much today, going to college is a waste of time. I have a lot of friends who have really good jobs because they are really good at what they do. They started at the bottom and they worked their way up relatively quickly because they could produce. They could, in a business. Well, these guys have 3 degrees, but they don't do shit. And this one person, has a high school degree, but is, knows that the process can fix any machine, treats all our customers with great respect and they love them. And it's making that one person who just has a college degree is making us $15 million a year. And these morons over here, not even 12 cents, right? So you don't need a college education. And we made college educations irrelevant. Now, I spent 30 years in university, but that wasn't a college. I was going to specific schools to do a specific task that gave me total access to the information and things I wanted. And I would study with and work for people who were world famous, you know? So that's why and they paid me to do it. Not only I didn't pay to go to school, they took care of that. They took care of my lodging and eating, and they gave me a weekly salary and a bonus every time I accomplished certain things, right? So, and that's because so schools weren't paying me. These other entities that were paying the school to do this study there or run this program there, you know, and they would send me there to be, you know, the arbiter or the negotiator or the demographer or the guy who built their protocols. You know, those were my skill sets, and that's why I had access to that, and that's why. So, you know, I did very nicely. I had a very comfortable living. You know, I did things I really enjoyed, and I helped people, and I made, you know, bits of change here and there in the worldview. And, you know, and different times I would be involved in things where I made it nice, you know, like when I was at Ithaca, I was, you know, had a place to live, worked in a great institution and had unbelievable access to all their assets. And that school, Cornell, has more assets than virtually anything else. And it's a download school. People don't realize that it's better than MIT, better than Harvard, better than Stanford, you know, Yale. And all those things are just, you know, prep school clubs for important people to make them feel important. They belong to blah, blah, blah. But Cornell, you go to school there, that is such a grind school. People work unbelievably hard, and they really learn something. And it's a journeyman school. You do the task. You don't just pretend, right? And so that's why I love that school. You know, I didn't have to grind like the kids had to. I mean, they grind so hard and they put themselves under so much stress. There's a big ravine river that goes through Cornell College, right? And it's an engineering school. So they built all these different suspension bridge, this kind of bridge, that kind of bridge. That's how these engineer kids learned how to build bridges. They built them right there on campus. And when I was there, these kids ground so hard, they would get so wound up that they would commit suicide. And so, you know, in midterms and finals of every semester, it was like Stalag 13. They put up, you know, like fences that weren't razor wire, but if you cross this field heading towards the bridge to kill yourself, it would like just get around you and you couldn't move. And then the horn would go up and they had spotlights going. It was like Stalag 13. It was like, you know, and if anybody was walking around and not on a path going from the library to here after 10 o'clock, they were like running across the field. You know, the spotlight would go straight to them and people would go after them. That's how, you know, so, and they would do really, when they party, they would get so drunk. The dormitories are like 19th century, and they have these roofs that are super like this and have, you know, portholes all around them, and they're made out of slate. These kids would get out those windows and basically slide down the slate roof to where there was like maybe 2 feet of a architectural ledge that they could walk around on and get to a corner where there'd be a space that no one could see them, and they could do whatever the heck they wanted. They could drink, smoke, have sex, and they would. They were just off the hook kind of people. But once they started realizing they could do this, they would have, and this was like 4 stories up. So if they didn't stick it on that ledge and it went that way, and this is Ithaca where it snows and ices all the time. So when they first started doing it, oh, well, this is fun. Well, they lost about 10 kids right off the bat. And, you know, four stories down and dead. So they had to start putting bars on all those. I mean, That's how crazed that school is, and so intense, the competition, and that these people aren't kidding around. They aren't pretending. They are really doing it. Not to say MIT and Harvard and Stanford and all those other schools don't have folks like that. They do. They have departments that are very, and I've been in those universities too. But Cornell it has its own. It had the first, particle accelerator, in the United States, if not the world. It's under their football stadium. They have, everything they have is like beyond belief. So to be there, have total access to everything, and this was during the Ronald Reagan years in Star Wars, and they built this thing called the Math Center, and it was like, Darth Vader. It's this 20-story building, no windows, just really black, not slate, but real reflective stone, right? No windows whatsoever. And it was one gigantic Faraday cage. You could get no electronic signal in or out of that place that wasn't going through a controlled source. And they had guards with machine guns. So they were doing serious stuff. And the sucker went underground more than it went up. It was already 20 stories up, or however many stories it was. It was twice that down. So Cornell was a very interesting place. I'd still be there today. I loved it. They loved me. So they took care of me, They gave me a nice salary. And the entity that put me there, I was put there by my friend who ran the administration of the Scholastic thing. So she was in charge of pretty much all of the hiring and firing of people and how, the curriculum was placed into the students. So she had total control. And when I needed to get out of town, she just came and got me and put me there. And her ulterior motive was she was doing something outside of Cornell, and Cornell was paying for it. And she was an anthropologist too. And so she was in Brazil. And so she wanted me to live at her house, that she just got married, and keep an eye on her husband, who was kind of like John, but not quite. He was he was a computer scientist, so he was always there. But he wasn't quite the human. He was more the computer. But once they got in bed, he pounded her like, a rock star. And so that's what she liked about him. And that she, didn't have to ever argue with him, that he would do exactly what she said. But when she was going to be gone, she wanted me to keep an eye on him, right? And because he didn't like all her other friends, but he did like me. Because he said, well, he's a scientist. He's logical. I can talk to this guy. He knows what I'm talking about. He's actually known blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And who are my heroes? And, I like this guy. And he actually does things. Like they bought a farm. I rewired the whole friggin' farm because it was like wired in 1920. And, so I wired it because it needed it, right? It had a total milking suite that just didn't work. I took it all apart, brought in new power, rewired everything so no one got electrocuted, and he started to have cows. So he wanted to be a farmer. His daddy was a farmer. Even though he's a computer, he wanted to show his daddy up that he was a better farmer. So I helped him do everything and didn't get paid or anything. I just stayed. I made a nice little apartment for myself in their barn because being in their house, even though they had a gigantic house, when they were pounding, it was like, when I say, praise Jesus, they'd be screaming louder than that. So, and they had interesting quirks that I didn't really need to be around. So I felt that there was a really kind of beautiful hayloft that was in a part of the hayloft that couldn't be used as hayloft, but had a beautiful staircase that went down into the barn and into the milk suite and out into where I parked my car. So it was great. And it had a total, toilet facilities, shower, the whole thing. Didn't work. I had to plumb it and put in hot water and all the above, but they paid for all the materials. I just did it, right? And the guy was actually, I can enjoy anyone's company. I'm happy to be with anybody, right? Look what, John, right? Not anyone. Very few people could stand being around. Parents can't, and so because he can't. I mean, he can't be around. He can be around me. You can see him, but basically, 3 years ago when he threw me out that time, and it was, I got here after driving 200 miles. I made him a nice meal. We talked, and they screamed and jumped up and threw me out. So I said, John, look, it's starting to get dark. I don't really have a place to go to this minute. Can't I just stay here in the night and leave in the morning? No, get out now. My house. So it was light enough to make it down the driveway. It was summertime, so it was probably about 7 o'clock or so. Still had about another hour or so of somewhat daylight. And I made it down. I went down about a mile on the county road, and there's this road that goes up into the hills. And it goes, and they built, it used to be a logging road, and then the county made it a road because they built houses up there. But the road keep going way past the, the last house they built. And it kind of is right there where the Blue Ridge Parkway is. Blue Ridge Parkway goes right through Roanoke. And so does the AT. So anyway, you can go up on the end of the road, park your car there, take your bike off, and ride on. And you used to be able, when I first moved here, you used to be able to drive. That road went onto the Blue Ridge Parkway, but they put a big stone there, so you couldn't. So, but you can park your car up there and take your bike on it, and that's what people do. So there's nobody up there. People do park up there. People go up there, take their bike, and drive on the parkway, and then get on the AT and go camping, and they leave the car there for a couple of days, and nobody bothers them. The cops don't even worry about it. They don't give them tickets, nothing. So it's one place that if you have a car and you want to sleep and not be bothered, you can go up there. So I went up there, and it has good cell signal. So I called up everyone who I could stay with, and virtually I got everyone's voicemail. Right? It rang and rang and rang. It didn't just go to voicemail. So they were busy. They were doing something. They didn't have their phone. So I resigned myself but I left everyone a message and said, hey, give me a call. I gave them the story of where it was and what it was. And about, I recline. I'm trying to nod off, but it's still like, 8 o'clock or whatever it is. And, it's like, I'm not really tired. So I wonder if John will like to work outdoors. Well, he's got a tremendous place to work outdoors right here. He's got the most amazing, beautiful thing, and there's tons of things. I found this amazing path, and I made campsites up there. He could do. I mean, if he wanted to make money, I pay my bills. He could build little houses that didn't have any real facilities, but that were nice. And I built one, and he could rent those out on Airbnb, and they could camp up there. And this hill is a great skiing hill. If we took out you could, right, this snow right here, and it goes up, 10 acres. It goes up 1/4 mile to the top ridge, and it's a 1/4 mile thing. And then if you kind of sweep around the house, you can see that he, one of his videos is him, snow surfing. And so if you went down that 1/4 mile, then took the road all the way down, you could go for another 2 miles when it's really snowy like this, And so he could, have Airbnb snow thing right here. And I was going to do that. I didn't care to do it. Didn't have the need to do it. Didn't want to spend whatever money I had on it. But John could do that, and he's trained. He's got it. He built this, fixed his place. And that he moans that, So the last 3 years, that was away. And he said, I worked so hard, 18 hours a day. He did nothing here. I came in, he kept the door open and the leaves were in the, and I started to sweep. No, let me do that. And, upstairs, the refrigerator's full of food that was rotted. I mean, he didn't really fix anything because he had fixed everything up 3 years ago. He didn't have to do anything more. So he made that little video of like him closing the door and turning on 2 heaters. And that's like, oh, I worked so hard to make the place warm. Really not. Meaning the little room I stay in, it's the teeniest room in the place. One little heater heats it up nice. He's got a zillion heaters all over this place. Not, it's keeping it from being below freezing, but it's still, upstairs he's got a zillion electric, and we have 2 mammoth wood stoves, and I moved all the wood in here. I that can't even walk. He helped move 3 loads of wood. I had a, he was just picking up one piece of it. I said, no, John, here, this is a laundry basket here. Just put them in. You can carry 5 at a time, right? And then he just dropped it on the thing. Well, it was a Dollar Tree laundry thing. And, it was designed to carry laundry, not 50 pounds of logs, but it does it if you treat it nice. And he, broke it so it couldn't be used again. But I had another 5 because every time that Dollar Tree now doesn't give you bags. So I would get a laundry basket to put my Dollar Tree stuff in. Because you're always going to need another laundry basket, especially because they break so easily. Anyway, John has many opportunities to do a great deal and not have to work on, lifting weights. Because, you look at his shoulders, he's got these gigantic gorilla arms and shoulders, but the thing that works on the rest of your body is other things, which he doesn't do. Like walking. Walking is very good to keeping you slim and trim, not running. He told me, you need to run. I said, well, John, I can't run up here. This stuff I would trip over, and if I fall down, I'll break like a teacup. Oh, no, that wouldn't happen to you. You're in great shape. Well, I'm 72. I will be 72 soon. And no, I'm, 72. Now, that doesn't mean I'm like, oh, no. I'm me. It's my dad used to say this all the time. I feel like I'm 16. And he did, especially once they drained his blood and put 22-year-old blood in him, which he did for about 4 years. And he was able to, after my mom died, he wanted to eat his gun. I said, don't do that. I'd have to clean it up. No, this is all you do. Just don't get another transfusion. You'll be dead in less than 2 months. And he did. And I said, I'm going to send you to my oldest sister's, where you traumatized all her kids. You stay with her for 2 months, and you be the gracious, great guy you are. And the last thing they'll remember is how great a guy you are, rather than the asshole you are, because that's all they remember you as. Because the last time you saw them, when you gave me a heart attack, you were screaming at them, right? And, my father used to scream like John, but more threatening, because he was a guy who was, was in SAC and was going to incinerate the world, He worked for General LeMay. And that guy. Oh. Yep. Like I said, Cornell is quite the grind school. I don't think any other school has people that kill themselves like that. That it's because if you go to Cornell in your discipline, you are going to get your job. You are going to go there. Not what you go to Yale. Well, unless you're like really rich guy, and then you become a president or a secretary of state or a senator. But all of the other schools are like, no, right? And if you're smart, and I would be in these universities and working with these kids who would be my lab rats or my assistants. I would say, okay, so when summer's coming, here's a list of people I know in the disciplines you want to get a job in. You call them and tell them you work for me, and they will give you an apprentice, right? You will work, there that summer, right? And then after doing that 2 or 3 summers, when you graduate, you'll get a job. But if you just go here and get your degree, you'll never get a job. So, I don't know, in those 30 years, maybe a couple hundred kids I did that for. But out of that couple hundred kids, maybe 60 did it. The others, I don't have to do that. I'm going to graduate top of my class, blah, 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 blah. Even if they did, it didn't happen. Then they had to go to grad school. Then I'd see them in grad school and said, so you didn't get your job, and you didn't go be the apprentice in the summertime. Do it now. Well, no, I'm a grad student. Yeah, okay, good. And that's like John. He's going to get his family back. Not going to happen. It's not going to happen because I'm saying it's not going to happen. It's because John's done nothing about it.
when she took him away, if he wanted to do something legal, that was the time. Now that his ex is offering to let his sons come here, that's what he should do. That little girl isn't his. Oh no, I want her and my ex. We all have to be a family. It has to be, no, things change. And if you can't navigate life, when I was a negotiator, people had to settle. It's called a settlement for a reason, because you settle. You don't get everything you want, That's why you have a guy like me to negotiate. Make sure everyone kind of gets what they need, not what they want, So they still have high rate of jumpers. Yep. And so John has great, he's 42. When I was 42, I was still a young Turk. No, it was not this guy. Right? I still had a big beard, but it was black. But my hair, I had all my hair, long hair. But this is still, it's not white yet. So I was told by an elder that having a white beard means you have experience and understanding. If you have white hair, it means you have fear. If your hair slowly grays and it's still dark, and same with your eyebrows, And when you get white eyebrows, it's when you have that experience and you've gone through the fear and you become wise. That's when you get white. So one reason I have the name Al, someone once said that I had my eyebrows look like an owl's eyebrows. So anyway, that's one reason I got that name, but there were a lot of others. You don't take that name. I didn't start calling myself Al. People started calling me. And after everyone was doing it, I said, well, I guess the other nickname I had didn't work. And it was better than cheesecake. But cheesecake always tastes the best. And that's how I got that nickname, Cheesecake. my sweetie said he tasted the best. So that was one reason. But there were other reasons I got named Cheesecake. I always had cheesecakes in my fridge because when people come for the potluck dinner and they didn't cook anything, my neighborhood was always near a pretty good cheesecake concern. In New York, there's a ton of cheesecake factories and this and that. Anyway, 3 hours, 60 minutes, and it's getting nippy, and my battery is almost dead. So I think that was entertaining enough, don't you think? And like I said, John has all the opportunity. He just has to move into it. And that's what I'm here to do. Give him the ample opportunity to see all his opportunities, to see all the directions he could do to move forward, to help him, be by his side, to be his cheerleader, all the above. But after that, pretty much, I will have tied all the strings together, and it's up to John. Because as my mom always said, and I keep repeating her, you can drag a You can drag a horse to water, but can't make him drink. And you can come up with every excuse. And, I'm a human. I've made plenty of excuses. But early on, and I kept having these people in my life who wouldn't let me make the excuse. No, you're going to go, you said you're going to do it. You're going to do it. And I would do it. And they'd let me do it my own way. That's kind of how I learned to navigate all this stuff. So I don't make excuses. That's why my second wife never made excuse. I just took care of business, period. Now I could do it in a way that she may not have appreciated, but she always saw that I went beyond the extra mile and always was thinking about her, always took care of her, always her first. It was the we in me. It was never me. It was me, but I was doing this because it made me happy to make her happy. Because she could get so pissed. You think John goes nuts? My sweetie, woo-wee, was like off the hook. So I always kept her happy. And every way and every day, I took care of it, right? And that's why she loved me so much. And that's why she never wanted to get rid of me. I could see this look on her face. She got these brows. She'd do this when I do something that she says, like,
And I say, what's wrong, honey? She goes, well, I just don't understand why. I said, let's talk. And we don't. And she goes, okay, now I understand. But still, I don't understand. And then we talk some more. I said, okay. Now, I said, so now we all are on the same page of understanding. What do you want? So you don't have to do this. And she would tell me. I said, not a problem. You know, and after about the 15th time of her doing that, I kept saying, before you do this, tell me about how you want it when I'm supposed to be doing something. Come on, you know me. I'm a moron. You know, and I'm only here because I love you so much and I want to make you happy. So that's my main reason here. So, because it wasn't her house, it wasn't her money. At times I had more money than she. I mean, I would, being in the fashion industry, you make a lot of money, especially if you have a successful line. But between the shows, the delivery, and then production for the next year's show, you spend a whole bunch of money here that you get nothing for a good 6 months. So if you're laying out, 20 grand a week for 6 months, yeah, you made a couple mil at the last show, but you're running out of it quick. So I used to have to pay our electric bill. I used to have to pay our rent. I used to have to pay a lot of things. And I never said anything about it, even though the place we lived in 8 years together was, hers. I lived there. I mean, when I moved, she says, you're moving in. I said, well, I do have my studio. I do have my shop. I do have my, abandoned building. And I do have about 3 other places around New York that, she goes, yeah, you can still have those, but you're living with me, so you're moving in. And I said, oh, okay. And then she goes, but you can't move anything in. I said, I'm moving in, but I can't move anything in. She goes, yep. And she had these big closets. She had walk-in closet, all the clothes that she made, And she goes, this is what's yours. And she had this one drawer in this one walk-in closet, and that had all these drawers, like about 5 dressers built in, and one drawer, big drawer. That's your drawer. You can put whatever you want in that drawer. No tools, no dirt, no sheetrock, no. And, in that shop of yours, you're going to have to build a shower, and you're going to have to shower before you come home. And every week, I'm going to give you a bag that you're going to have clothes, a outfit that you're going to go from the house to the shop, which you take off, and then put on the working clothes that I'm going to make for you. And then you take that off, and then you shower, and then you put on the clothes that you come back to the house. So I did that for 8 years, every night. No big, and a lot of people, you do this for her? Why you? And I said, buddy, so you're whipped. I said, man, if you were whipped like I am, you would do it too. So it was not a big deal, because it made her happy. Something that small could make her happy. And I'm trying everything like this floor. John complained that I was messing it up. So I took one of my towels, and I think you saw me rubbing. I walk around this place. I take the towel, and I do this, and I put it on the floor like that. Like that, and then I step on it, and I go around the whole floor, right? And I have this nice little cleaning material, and then I spray on the floor, and then I go over it, and this does way better than any mop or anything. I do the whole floor about 6 times a day. So he can't complain that I am messing his floor up. And so then he complained the way it smelled. And I got this on purpose to kill him, right? So I put lavender in it. So now it smells like lavender. And I go to this extent. So there is no excuse for John to not have a life that might make him happy. And you see me talking to him. I constantly stick on. So what's the most important thing, right? Most important thing is Jesus and God. Okay, so what would Jesus and God what you want? Be nice and happy. So why aren't you? why you always like screaming at me and cursing at me. And I don't know how many times you've seen him do it, but he can get pretty vile. I mean, this stuff that you saw this morning on this thing is really nothing compared to when he, like yesterday, off the hook. And a couple of days ago, really off the hook. Mean and cruel. Just things that would curl your nose hairs. You know, A, I've been trained to deal with this. And B, I've known him for 7 years. D, he has no one else. Right? But there comes a time when, you know, Freud said, when you do the same thing over and over and expect a different outcome, you know, that's a sign of insanity. Now, I have been using my 3 rules of doctor, do no harm, do not get involved unless you have a workable exit strategy, and you're going in to save the innocent, and you don't go in unless you're going to learn something. So as long as I'm learning things, which I am every minute from John, right? But the permutations of all the stuff is, you know, getting slimmer and slimmer. So back to that, when he threw me out the last time, it was September, and I called everybody up, and I was trying to fall asleep, and my phone rang, and it was my friend, one of the people I called up. I said, "Oh, so you're over there by the Blue Ridge Parkway right there?" I said, "Yep." Because listen, what we're going to do is I'm going to come and get you with a friend, and we're going to go to this blowout. We're on our way to this blowout party, and it's right on. I mean, we can come and get you, and then we're not going to have to diverge that far from our path of going to this party. So I know you can't drive at night, so you get in my car. My friend will drive your car. We'll go there, and this party is going to be monumental. And it was. It lasted. It was to celebrate all of these kids who had tied themselves up to trees to stop the, you know, the Mountain Valley pipeline, right? Well, you know, they were up there, and they got some TV coverage, and they got injunction. But so they came out of the trees, and they had this big party. And then a few months later, the injunction, you know, they didn't read injunction too well because it wasn't forever, and they started it up again. And so that's the kind of liberal mentality of, because you got to stop it. You got to be completely, and you just don't tie yourself up in a, see, I did this great thing. I tied myself up into a tree. No, you have to be smart and have a strategy. It's like war, you know, and you have to win the war, not just, you know, win a little skirmish, right? But the party was off the hook because this rich lady who was backing these kids, the thing that she wanted was the pipeline not to go across her property. And so they jagged, you know, a little away from her property and kept going. So she got what she wanted. But boy, that party was amazing. It had bands and food like you couldn't believe, and booze and everything else, and went on for 3 days. So because John threw me out, I had to go down the road and had to be at the end of the cul-de-sac. And I called my friend, and he called me back, and I went, he came and got me, and his friend drove my car. And I didn't go, "Oh, you can't drive my car." I said, "Fuck it, sure. Let's go to the party." And, you know, he lit up a bone on our way there. So I was feeling no harm. We get there, and it was just, it was like being in heaven. And virtually the 32 times John has thrown me out, every time I've had extraordinary experiences, just off the hook. So I'm having one right now with you. And this is why I do this. I don't do it for the chump change, you know. So he made, when the big crone went, you know, global, and they got 70,000 hits, you know, yeah, he made $1,500. But that's like, I used to make that. I used to take care of rich, crazy people's family, and I would get like $1,500 a week. So he's coming down now, and things are gonna. My battery's almost up, so I'm gonna have to end this one way or the other. But I'll wait a few seconds just to make sure he doesn't kill me. Arf.
Boo boo boo. Boo 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 boo. Boo 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 boo. Hey buddy.
Alright.
How you doing? Hope you're well.
Well, I don't feel that great.
Well, what can we do to make you feel better?
Well, I've had about enough of everything, and I was going to try to drink alcohol as an escape of how difficult
Did you
it
drink
is.
any beer?
I had one light beer, 95 calories. I weighed 230 fucking pounds. How could that do anything? I did not get any feeling at all from it.
Okay. You want to
Other
meditate?
than I have feeling in my arms and legs.
Right.
What is that? Oh, it's like worse because you have difficulty with your problems. Okay.
No judgment. It's apples. You or you, I'm me. It's two different things.
Yeah, you don't get depressed. You have physical problems that aren't so unbearable that you gave up and did not want to live anymore. So it must not be that difficult. But I've had it so difficult that I've given up and wanted to die every day for 2 months now, and 4 months of last year, and for all of 2018, probably every day. Well, here and there it was okay. All of 2019, and then 2020, I had a chance to work at videos a bunch to finally not have to suffer working at something that made me want to die.
Right.
So it was okay. And
Right.
then I had to go back to work at some other thing.
What did you have to go work at?
I don't want to talk about it.
Then don't.
But right now, I'd like to drink alcohol
So
or
drink
something
You
because
drink
I
alcohol.
can't think of what else to do. I don't want to do anymore. I've done enough already.
The people on the chat have all said, if you took walks, if you did, some more physical kind of
I look
things.
good enough.
Right? No, it's not. It's not how you look.
I look good
It's
enough.
not
It's
how you look.
ridiculous.
They're not talking about how you look. It's how you feel. I mean, you see me get up every 5-10 minutes and stretch and walk around because it makes me feel better. It gets things
I can
moving.
barely go on. I've done so much already. Can you lift 100-pound dumbbells? No, none of you can. So why the fuck am I not good enough? You think I'm fat? Great. I'm fat as shit. Who gives a fuck? Might as well be dead. Okay. Haha. So funny. Man, I drink alcohol because I can't go on anymore.
Well, then
Is there
drink
any
alcohol.
here
Go drink
that's
it.
not bad for
Go
you?
go drink it. Go drink it.
Great. Oh, let's rile them up. Let's
No,
not rile up.
no. Buddy, I'm
Okay.
here to be your to help you, to give you positive reinforcement, to help you become happy, to look at the things you can take care of and get out of your way so you aren't miserable, Because you have a good life ahead of you.
How do you know?
Because you're alive. You
I
live
may
in this
die.
beautiful house.
I may die right now. If I had a gun, I'd shoot myself in the head.
Ugh.
Probably.
Well, you wouldn't want to.
That's why I won't have any guns near me because I don't want to shoot myself in the head. You know why? So they don't fucking take me away. So I have a reason why a cop won't show up at my door.
Right.
Because how would that help me? So I had to say that so that somebody doesn't try to report me for being depressed. And also, I'm not going to kill myself either. If I had a gun here, I'd probably fucking throw it on the ground and drop it and shoot into the wall or
Right.
something. I wouldn't know what to do with it, and I don't want a gun.
Right.
And I wouldn't kill myself with it. And it wouldn't shoot you. It would not shoot you. I would make sure it didn't shoot you. I wouldn't do that if it wouldn't aim it towards anyone else. It wouldn't hurt anyone else.
But John,
If I was in somebody's house that
What
had a
would-
gun,
other than
I
why
wouldn't know
there
what
is
the fuck to
nothing-
do with it because I don't like that stuff.
there is nothing you can do to make yourself feel better. No thought. I mean, when you let thoughts in your mind, they're usually these erroneous
How
kind
can
of
I
thoughts
drink
that just
enough
get you angry,
alcohol
right?
to feel okay? Is there any alcohol in here? You said it's extra. What do you think?
I don't know. There's no booze here. Whatever booze is here is you. I mean, you've been here 7 years, so
I know.
I
I
have
gave
nothing-
you the one beer so then things were more calmed down and okay in your channel a little bit more, and that was okay because my kindness to you came back to help me. Are you okay? You have your own problems to work.
I'm just rubbing my head. That's all.
You have your own problems to worry about.
I don't worry about them. I just deal with them. Anyway, kids, I'm going to sign off because my battery's almost dead. So I'm just gonna leave the channel. Okay, I'll see you later this evening now that the internet is working.